theramind.com. That's Theramind at 847-562-5868 or online at tmsmind.com.
5:07 is our time in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Mike. On the expressways and tollways, things are looking pretty good right now, though there is some rain in the area, so you might allow some extra time and following distance this morning. There is construction on Oakton at the Adams Tollway. That's in Elk Grove Village. Right lane closed each way till 6 this morning. Lakeshore Drive work is scheduled to get going today on the 35th Street pedestrian bridge over the drive, and so 2 right lanes are going to be closed southbound 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's through Friday. Traffic is a service of Aurora University Online Learning. Pursue your passion with a degree from Aurora University Online. Choose from fully online programs in accounting, business, education, criminal justice, general studies, integrated communication, nursing, and social work. To learn more, visit online.aurora.edu. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer is next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour today, otherwise cloudy with a high 66. Then tonight, on and off rain and drizzle with a low 57. Tomorrow, areas of fog, otherwise mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, a high 64, and rain at night, low 46. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, this is unusual for March. 59 at O'Hare, 58 along the lakefront, and a welcome 59 at Midway this morning. Your next news update is at 5:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Innovative Networks. Communication, technology, and reliability for Chicagoland business. Online at go4inet.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football.
I would love to take on Ted one-on-one. That would be so much fun.
You know, I think Donald suffered some real damage over the last week. People are starting to learn that Donald Trump, the character, and Donald Trump, the person, are not the same thing.
The State Department decides what is, and let me go a step further here. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
If there is a large voter turnout, we will win.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So,
yeah,
you're
how much is too much?
You're going to be happy today. $55 million for Erin Andrews. $55 million jury verdict for Erin Andrews. And it is worth noting, you kind of have to go to the subtext of some of these numbers. So it's essentially split evenly between her stalker.
Yeah, Michael Barrett, who's from Illinois.
And
I met the guy. Lovely. Kidding. Yeah, so he has to pay 51%, so $28 million in damages. I'm telling you right now, Dan, my sources told me he's living in a modular home in Oregon.
Oh, really?
Right now. So he doesn't have the money. I don't
Yeah.
think she's going to get a dime from him.
Right. So
I hope her attorneys let her know. Yeah.
So that's the issue, right? It's you have deep pockets with Marriott, but you don't have deep pockets with him. So she's not going to get anything from him. And I assume Marriott will appeal the decision. Perhaps the jury verdict gets reduced on appeal. But the bottom line is, she sought $75 million in damages. She got $55 million. You think that is a just verdict, or is this a prima facie case for tort reform? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro, text line.
So the Marriott, the National Marriott, and the owners of the Marriott in Vanderbilt, on Vanderbilt University, have to pay, well, they're supposed to pay $26 million, but my sources told me that it's going to be $6 million. That instead of going through the appeal process, that they can come together and settle on a number. And I had heard rumblings of $6 million. Now, Erin Andrews said Her career was not harmed to this, but her life was ruined because she'll never be the same because somebody spied on her.
My naked body was on the front page of the New York Post, like they had put bars over my body parts. My girlfriend was calling me, telling me she was running around New York City throwing coffee on all the papers because she felt so bad.
So then her naked body wasn't on the cover of the New York Post because they had put bars over her body parts.
Yes, they did. But she said she will never, ever be the same. And I don't know. I mean, her career has skyrocketed because of this.
Didn't she just sign 2 big contracts?
Well, she was, at that time, she was a reporter, and a well-known reporter because she's gorgeous and she's pretty good at her job. But because of that, she got on Dancing with the Stars. Then she did so well on Dancing with the Stars, and the producers loved her, that they got rid of Brooke as a host, and they made Erin Andrews the host. And yes, she did just re-sign with them.
So should Marriott and her stalker countersue for a portion of her salary, of her economic benefits based on how they launched her career? Obviously, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But the fifth, I mean, seeking $75 million, a judgment for $55 million. Obviously, no one condones what this guy did, and it was negligent at minimum on behalf of Marriott to direct him to her room when he asked where she was staying.
Yeah. I mean, they led him to the candy.
Is it? I mean, first of all, I don't even know how you quantify this because, as you say, the economic damages are indeterminable, if not non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all about pain and suffering, intentional infliction of emotional distress is the tort, and then punitive damages on top of that. And this, to me, is a case where when you have tort reform advocates, like we had here in Illinois in the 90s before a law that was passed and that was ruled unconstitutional by the state Supreme Court.
How long ago was that?
20 years ago in the 90s.
Okay.
It would have limited non-economic damages to no more than 3 times economic damages. Now,
So how much do you think she's deserved of?
Like I said, I think it's very difficult to quantify, and without being privy to all of the presentation of the evidence that the jury was, I'm not going to put a number on it. I just, at first blush, it's one of those things that sounds disproportionate to the offense to me.
Well, I watched some of the jury trial, and watched when the clerk who checked in, Michael Barrett, testified, and she said he asked to go right next to her room, and I put him right next to her room. She didn't see anything wrong with it because she wasn't trained properly. So in a way, I think they are at fault for that because you should know you can't go into a hotel and say, hey, where's Erin Andrews staying?
I'd like to stay next to this person. Well,
Yeah,
why?
okay,
Are you a family or a friend? Does this person know you? No. Yeah, so I get that, but also that also speaks to the lack of malicious intent. It wasn't like this clerk was co-conspiring with the stalker. And so, again, it doesn't eliminate culpability. But in terms of contemplating punitive damages, reckless disregard, that seems to me that would be a mitigating factor.
It was definitely a violation of her privacy.
I think the thing that's really hit home for me and hurts me the worst is when girls, high school, college, they tweet me and they say, I want to be Erin Andrews except for the Marriott stalker thing. And I can't control that.
She did say one day after court, I have to tell you this, a reporter was interviewing her, and she said, well, I'm doing this because for my future husband and my future kids, that I want them to know that this is not acceptable. Is this a good way to get a guy? I don't know. 312-642-5600. I was so thrown off by that. I thought, really? I mean, it was just a very strange.
I don't know. It's
maybe
a
she had a long
recruiting
day.
Tool, but no, I mean, she needs $55 million so that her future husband and her future kids know that stalking people is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I think right now what she should do is just
ridiculous.
Own it that it happened. See the right counselor, own that it happened, and just honestly, like, take ownership of it and move on. Be an advocate for privacy rights.
One of the
state
interesting
and federal
things
level.
to Dan's point, one of the interesting angles that the Marriott lawyer took in this case was when Andrews was on the stand, he started listing the endorsement deals she received after the incident was published and the video and the pictures were out, and it was a staggering total.
Her Twitter following jumped 1 million.
and it was, again, cause and effect are not related here, but just as a defense mechanism, the Marriott lawyers said, look, your Twitter following went up, your endorsement deals went up 7 to 10-fold, along with the money that comes with that, obviously seeking to mitigate limit their damages, right?
So where's the harm is the question, right? So how are
that was their argument, right?
Yeah,
right. And
certainly there's no professional or economic harm. There's an emotional harm. I understand, okay, but I think that's a good tack by the Marriott attorneys. I think it's very difficult to suss out. Seems to me, and I'm not saying this is Erin Andrews, but the people in media, oh my gosh, what you did to me was terrible. Keep doing it.
Sometimes
more notoriety.
Yep.
I mean, the first time I heard this story, I thought it was a setup that they're doing this to elevate her career. And then once I heard from her, I realized, this isn't good. Then I went to Michael Barrett's first court hearing at the Dirksen Federal Building. He loved it. He would love that all the media was around. He was just had this look on his face, this little smirk. I wanted to smack him. But he's recorded other people, local TV people, and other national announcers. Because that's what he does for a living.
Michael Barrett, please record me. 505 North Lakeshore Drive. I'll leave the door ajar.
But the prosecutor wouldn't tell me, who else did he victimize? And he said, no, they haven't been released, and we've seized his computer and the floppy disk and everything and the hard drive that it'll never come out. But that's what he did.
Wow.
What century is this?
No, that's all that
Drive,
he made various copies, you guys, of other women that he secretly recorded, whether in hotel rooms or when they were,
the prosecutors
at swimming
laid that
pools
case
with
out,
their kids. He did everything.
And then he would type up ransom notes on his Commodore 64. Jordan
and then go home and play Atari.
Jordan in Forest Park.
Yeah, just clarification, guys. Marriott International was not liable in this case. They were originally named in the lawsuit, but the judge removed it. They were considered to be the franchisor and not liable. The two liable parties were the investment company that owned the hotel, the specific hotel, and then the operators of that specific hotel.
The franchisee, yes, right.
Right. And then also, I think there are two other hotels that she's suing as well. It didn't mention which hotels those were, but I don't think this is the last of this.
No, because he followed her to various cities. Whatever town she was going in, he would go in and try and check in to the room next to her, and if not, find out what room she was staying in. But the Marriott attorneys did say her career wasn't ruined, but her attorney said her career wasn't ruined, but her life was ruined, that she'll never be the same. And she did describe in great detail how when she checks into a hotel room now, the first thing she does is cover the peephole, cover the keyhole, check out the room for bugs, check out the room for secret video recording devices.
Text from Steve on 88. That's the last time she'll reserve a hotel room as Erin Andrews. Next time it will be the $55 million woman. Yeah, that's good. Text from 779. She got a fortune because she's beautiful and she cried.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
And Dan, after the verdict was read, they shut down the cameras in the courtroom, and she went up to the jurors and hugged each and every one of the jurors.
Oh,
Isn't that sweet?
That was worth at least $5 million a man.
Yeah. Where are we going to dinner? I'm buying. And you're going to buy this forecast because it is summer-like. You don't even need a winter coat. I stepped outside today and went, wow, what month is this? 59 degrees right now at O'Hare, going up to a high of 68 degrees today. And then tonight we have some rain on and off. And tomorrow, even warmer. We could break a record set back in decades ago. We could have a high tomorrow of 69 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. Things look pretty good on the area expressways and tollways right now. A little precipitation in the area, so be careful with that. There is a closure on Chicago's south side of 17th Street between Ashland and Paulina for TV filming today. Work on the 35th Street pedestrian bridge over Lakeshore Drive is scheduled to get going in the next hour. And when and if that happens, two right lanes will close on southbound Lakeshore Drive in that area. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com. The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
It gets dark early, it's freezing outside, and your life savings is going down tick by tick in the stock market. Well, I have some good news for you. Mortgage interest rates have gone down again, so it's time to do a no closing cost refinance with Townstone Financial. Hi, Barry Sterner, owner of your premier home mortgage lender, Townstone Financial. Give me a call now if your interest rate is above 4% on 30-year fix or above 3.5% on a 15-year fix. We've completed thousands of no-cost refinances since 2002, and we can do one for you too. And don't worry, there are no hidden costs. I guarantee it, and I own the company. Also, if you have an FHA or conventional loan with monthly mortgage insurance, we can try to remove the insurance payment due to recent increases in home prices. This can save you hundreds of dollars per month. Remember, you don't have to restart at 30 years or 15. We can customize the payback period. So dial 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com. Townstone Financial is an Illinois mortgage licensee, 6629 and MLS 136639, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and you're causing Erin Andrews emotional distress with that song, Rockwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Well, this is how she lives her life now because of what happened.
Right.
But again, when it's all said and done, I think
in a Rockwell video.
My sources told me $6 million is what they're agreeing on.
$6 million woman. All right, so the big story yesterday on the Republican side, Bloomberg drops out. He never got in.
Well, he said he dropped out because if he ran, it would assure and guarantee a Trump victory.
Well, assuming Trump's the nominee, which I guess he's assuming. But the big story yesterday was this contretemps over Rubio and whether or not there is dissension within Camp Rubio about Rubio staying in even until March 15th in the Florida primary. CNN reported that senior advisors in the Rubio campaign are debating whether or not it makes sense for him to stay in. They don't see a path for him to the nomination, according to the CNN report, and they don't want him to be embarrassed in his home state out the door. Now, also yesterday, I think it was a Monmouth poll came out showing the race tightening down to 8 points.
Yes.
So you have those kind of countervailing factoids to weigh in as, what's this woman's name at CNN? Lisa Gangle? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Jamie Gangle.
Jamie. Lisa. Gosh.
Whatever.
You think they're all the same?
Erin Andrews. Erin Andrews of CNN was reporting on this story. This is Jamie Gangle, CNN, who did the story on Rubio, the dissension within Camp Rubio, which was flatly denied by Rubio campaign spokesman. But here's Ms. Gangle explaining her story and standing by it.
we were told that there's been a serious internal debate by a very knowledgeable source. And that debate is about whether or not he should drop out before Florida. That source told us that top advisors have told Rubio that they do not see a path to the nomination, and they're advising him to get out before Florida for a simple reason. They don't want him, quote, to get killed in his home state.
Thinking about his political future, perhaps a run for governor in 2018. Maybe dissension within Rubio ranks. The idea that that conversation would be happening doesn't come as a particular surprise to me. The end result of this being Rubio staying in and going at least through March 15th also wouldn't surprise me.
Well, their voters are going to the polls today in Hawaii, Idaho, Mississippi, Michigan. And in Michigan, I don't know if you saw the latest Monmouth poll, Rubio has slipped with just 13%. John Kasich and Ted Cruz are almost tied, and Donald Trump has a 13-point lead. Yeah. So, he hasn't even showed up in Michigan. Today is 6 months ago.
Today is not going to be Rubio's day. It's Florida or bust, effectively. But
won't that affect voters' psyche if he tanks it today in Mississippi and in Michigan and then going into Florida? I don't think he's going to have any momentum.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that it
and
matters.
He's ignoring Illinois, which makes me mad.
The big story tomorrow will be these 4 states you just mentioned, particularly Michigan and to some extent Mississippi. Will we see in Mississippi what we saw in Louisiana? Maybe Trump narrowly wins, but his big lead dissipates at the close with late breakers breaking for Cruz.
And Kasich, too, though.
Well, in Mississippi, the governor, Phil Bryant, Republican, endorsed Cruz yesterday. So do you have this cascading effect? Maybe you could argue it was prompted by Romney. I don't know. But this cascading effect of circling the wagons for Ted Cruz from elected Republicans, and does that close the gap? If not, perhaps you even set up a surprise Cruz victory somewhere. Again, double-digit lead in Michigan, double-digit lead in Mississippi, a little bit closer in Idaho. Hard to know the Iowa caucus, the Hawaii caucus. I haven't seen any numbers on that of late.
And we even had a congresswoman on. Granted, she was a Democrat, but she didn't really know anything about what's going on in her home state.
So it's going to be, it seems to me that Trump is coming back to the pack a little bit. That's not the same thing as saying he's not the odds-on favorite to be the nominee, because I believe he still is. But it does. Louisiana on Saturday night was particularly instructive because of how the lead shrunk and the basis of that lead shrinking. And it will be, I think Mississippi will be even more instructive in terms of what's happening between Cruz and Trump than will Michigan, and we'll see that tonight.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up after we check the news with Mike Scott, Brett Baer tries to get a straight answer out of Hillary. He did the best he could. We'll have it at 5:35.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 54 degrees, wind south at 10, and voters in 4 states head to the polls today, casting ballots in the presidential race. The big prize is Michigan. Nearly 60 Republican delegates up for grabs and almost 150 on the Democratic side. There's also a major primary contest in Mississippi. Idaho holds its Republican primary, and voters in Hawaii will caucus as well. Senator Bernie Sanders among the candidates campaigning in Detroit yesterday, telling voters they won't be fooled again.
The Donald Trumps and his friends are not going to prevail in scapegoating minorities in this country.
Sanders and fellow Democrat Hillary Clinton stumped the day in Michigan before taking part in a Fox News town hall event later in the evening. Only one state legislative chamber in the South is still controlled by Democrats, and that could very easily change during a special election today in Kentucky. Voters will choose 4 state reps in a series of special elections created by resignations and strategic appointments by new GOP Governor Matt Bevin. Democrats have held the Kentucky House for just about a century. Over a dozen people are injured, some seriously, after a commuter train derails near San Francisco. Alameda County Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly.
I've heard word of possibly a tree that fell along the tracks and may have caused the derailment. So we'll be looking at all that.
We're watching new developments in the Volkswagen emission rigging scandal. It's reverberating in Germany this morning as prosecutors say they now have 17 under investigation in that probe of suspected fraud. A news conference about a case planned today after first-degree murder charges were filed against a Chicago man in the death of a 9-year-old who police say was lured from a playground and shot in the head because of his father's gang ties. A woman is facing DUI charges after she was pulled over in suburban Roselle with a tree stuck in the front of her car. Police say that vehicle was driven by Marianne Christie and was spotted driving in January. Lovie Smith becomes the first African-American head football coach in the history of the University of Illinois.
It is truly a privilege and an honor to be the new head football coach for the University of Illinois.
6 years, $21 million, a lot of enthusiasm. Chicago sports, Bulls winners over Milwaukee 100-90. MAC tournament basketball action on the men's side. Our Northern Illinois Huskies winners over Western Michigan 56-50. The news, a service of InvisibleFence.com. Protect your pets with Invisible Fence brand. Keep them in the yard, away from the fireplace, and off the furniture. Invisible Fence brand has the answer to training your pets at InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand can install in any weather, rain or snow. Visit InvisibleFence.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
America right now is better off than it's ever been. Man, if I thought that, I wouldn't fight.
The Joe Walsh Show.
52% of young people would do away with the First Amendment. We have people being fined and threatened with jail time for exercising their religious freedom. Yes, I am a pessimist, but that's why I fight.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
It's so important businesses who share conservative values work together and support each other so our companies thrive. If you're a manufacturer, I encourage you to call Laz Kolchar from Automated Systems. As a software and systems integration company, they create custom solutions to make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 500 or a startup. Automated Systems delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. At Freedom Summit, Laz wowed the crowd with the story of escaping communism, coming to the U.S., and building a successful company. And I know that Laz and Automated Systems can wow your company by making it more profitable. If you even suspect that Automated Systems could benefit your manufacturing company, then call Laz at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. The number again, 844-HIRE-ASI.
Hi, folks. Joe Walsh here. I recently visited Precision Payroll of America in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. I'll tell you, I've been hearing Tom's ads for years, and to meet his team and spend a little time with them, I realized why their clients and employees stay together so long. I also didn't realize what great services they offer. Payroll processing, tax filing, time and attendance, and human resource consulting. Boy, we could all use help there with all these new and yet to be introduced regulations from healthcare to full-time equivalency. Precision Payroll of America has the right services and the right approach to help companies navigate these crazy times. For a service provider you can relate to and will look out for your best interests, call Tom at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Also, visit precisionpayroll.com, but then pick up the phone and call Tom. He is sure to deliver great value and even better service.
5:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's all clear on the Edens right now. 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. Kennedy just fine. The express lane's open inbound. 20 minutes. So O'Hare to downtown, outbound the same. The Eisenhower and the Stevenson are still good. Inbound Ryan, it's slow going from the Stevenson to the Circle. 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound, it's clear. Bishop Ford. I've got a 3-minute delay from 103rd to the Ryan. The tollways are good. No problems to report on I-80 or in Northwest Indiana. Traffic is a service of Whole Foods Market. This week at Whole Foods Market, save on fresh asparagus. Just $2.49 per pound through this Tuesday today. And get organic whole trade bell peppers for just $2.99 per pound. Stock up and save today at Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, windy, and warm today with a high of 68. Currently 59 at O'Hare, 58 along the lakefront. And your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
I love this song.
Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Is he still alive?
I believe so.
Oh, now I said that he's going to pass away because I asked a few weeks ago if Nancy Reagan was still alive. And look what happened to her.
Yeah, okay, Black Widow.
Okay.
Let me just refer to something. Mike Scott was talking about Lovie Smith's contract.
Yeah.
Right? So
6
years, $22 million.
Yeah, $22 million.
Don't you think he deserves at least as much as Aaron Andrews?
Okay, stop.
Here's the other thing that's interesting about Lovie Smith coming to coach the Illini.
What is this going to be? What?
He is the first person to move from Florida to Illinois for a job in 20 years. So that's
I
worth,
think he's
it's
going to
worth
be.
noting.
I think he's going to be great because people will trust their kids, their sons, with him as a coach. And if Lovie Smith came to my door to ask me about Peyton or Eli, I'd invite him in for dinner. I'm like, sure, come on, I'd love to talk to you. I think he's going to do a great job, and also he's from Texas, and there's a lot of great football talent in Texas.
Oh no!
So he's going to need a few years to grow the program, as they say, but. You know, Illinois, they might be a contender. They might maybe be able to beat the Iowa Hawkeyes someday.
Yeah, they will. They will. No, love it. I think it's a great get, but from Illinois, it's the first good thing to happen in Illinois in a long time.
And Ron Turner brought him over. He suggested it, like come back to the college level.
Yeah, Ron Turner, offensive genius.
Well,
all right. Switching back to all things presidential politics, a lot of ads flying around. I think we should hear from some of them. But before we do, I want to Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy is one of these establishmentarian political consultants. He's you may remember Mike Murphy from such ignominious efforts as spending $150 million of Meg Whitman's money to get the base Republican vote when she ran for governor of California against Moonbeam. Mike Murphy is part of the problem with the Beltway GOP. It's not just, and we've made reference to this before, but I want to be explicit. It's not just the feckless leadership. It's the uninteresting, lacking in creativity,
Is he in charge of a super PAC or something?
He was Jeb's Right to Rise PAC guy.
Yeah, they didn't work out.
But he's also this is where Meet the Press goes to understand the Republican Party.
That's right.
And everything that Mike Murphy says is anodyne, hackneyed bilge from a bygone era. And you want to understand why the Republican Party is not more dynamic than it could be and should be, why it's not more fun than it could be and should be. Mike Murphy and those like him have as much to do with that as your rank and file member of Congress. Let me tell you, in some cases more, because they have a lot more resources and thus exercise a lot more power. He was on with Howard Kurtz on Fox yesterday talking about the Right to Rise PAC. And, do you think you did anything wrong spending north of $100 million for Jeb Bush to run in place for 6 months? Mike Murphy's response.
I'm proud of everything we did. I make no apologies.
But did you miscalculate? Did you miscalculate and go after the wrong guy?
No, because we knew early, because we wanted to consolidate, and then potentially it could come down to Jeb and Trump. But early, we were competing against Scott Walker. We were competing against Marco Rubio. We're competing against everybody over in our category. So the problem is this year, the voters are looking, at least half of them, and unless we consolidate, Trump's plurality will see him probably to the nomination.
Well, let me jump in here because I've got to help.
Yeah, no, that's part of it. Yes, it was a crowded field. It was a crowded field for everyone, but not everyone had 9 figures with which to address that crowded field and the electorate. So,
they only spent 25% of their ad revenue attacking Donald Trump, which I think they should have spent more money on ads getting him early and often.
Yes, but here, I think you're right that they underestimated
everybody did
the power of Trump. But it's one thing to underestimate it, but it's how quickly you come to the realization that you were underestimating, how quickly you can alter your course, how facile you are. And they showed that they were a big battleship that took forever to turn. But it's not just devoting resources. I'm going to throw resources at attacking Trump. I'm going to go throw resources at pumping up Jeb. It's the quality of the message that you're presenting. It's the relevance of the value proposition you're advancing. This is where the Mike Murphys of the world get a little bit lost. I'm proud of everything we did. No, there were no mistakes made. I would do it all over again, essentially is what he's saying. It's preposterous. And then he goes on to say, there's a new establishment. It's the anti-establishment.
Well, no, look, I'm not part of anything. There's an anti-establishment establishment. I'm just a Republican primary voter now. I don't speak for Jeb Bush. I don't think Trump would be good for the party or the country. What'll happen? If we beat him fair and square, it's great. If we can't beat him fair and square, he's not going to get beat.
Well, you may be just a Republican voter, but you're very active on Twitter. Mike Murphy, thanks very much.
So, if we beat him fair and square, then we beat him, and if we don't, then we don't. Those are the kind of insights you get from these 7-figure consultants like Mike Murphy, and it explains why a ragtag bunch of amateurs, largely, and that's what Trump's campaign is. All you have to do is listen to his national spokesman, Katrina Pearson. Good grief.
Oh, we had her on. That was fun.
Yeah, but this is a good example of why a ragtag bunch of amateurs, by and large, not everybody on Trump's campaign, but by and large, have been kicking the snot out of all of these professional political consultants and their clients for the better part of the last year.
Well, it's a new approach to politics, and every rally he has, there are protesters, and he has fun with them, and the crowd gets into it. This is him in Mississippi last night.
Get out of here. Looks like a nice little guy, actually. Go home to mommy. Go home. Bye. Go home to mommy. Go home to mommy. Tell her to tuck you in bed.
Was he talking to Marco Rubio? Who was he talking to?
This shorter Hispanic protester.
No.
But the guy, you know what? He had fun with him when he told him to go to bed, and he was waving like, "Okay, bye, I'm leaving." And then the crowd, pumped up. But that is a Trump rally.
That's theater.
Yeah, it's fun.
Who doesn't like to see a little WWE component to your politics?
Where's the staple gun?
Let me run some Trump ads that are playing in Illinois.
Oh, can we play the effective or not game?
Yeah,
you play them, and I'll let you know if it blows wind up my skirt.
As long as you don't ever use that metaphor again.
You hate that.
Then I will.
You're such a prude.
I will play that game. All right, so here's anti-Trump ad that's running in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. Ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Which presidential candidate supports higher taxes, national health care, and the Wall Street bailout? It's Donald Trump.
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat.
Trump wants us to think he's Mr. Tell It Like It Is, but he has a record, and it's very liberal. He's really just playing us for chumps. Trump, just another politician.
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat.
Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yeah, now I was bored 6 seconds in.
All right. I'm going to
kill ad number 1.
All right, so that's out.
All right,
All right. We'll try another one. This also running in Illinois.
The Supreme Court's Kelo decision gave government massive new power to take private property and give it to corporations. Conservatives have fought this disaster. What's Donald Trump say about the decision?
I happen to agree with it 100%.
Trump supports eminent domain abuse because he can make millions while we lose our property rights. Trump, the worst kind of politician. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
A little bit better.
Yeah, you're not a fan of Club for Growth Action, clearly.
No, they should sit me down.
I think they need the Friday the 13th music. They got a little too upbeat at the end. They should have done the kill, murder.
Give me another one.
All right, so here's this is a little bit different. This is running in Florida, and this focuses on Trump's use of colorful language.
I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. Listen, you mother. He gets the nomination. They're going to sue his ass. She said he's a put. I don't give a. We'll beat the out of them. They're ripping the out of the sea. Bullshit. What the hell are we doing? You're not going to raise that price. I have the best words. And you can tell them to go themselves.
American Future Fund Political Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
That is awesome. I love that one.
The problem is, I don't know. That's supposed to be a hit on Trump. I think it
helps Trump.
I think it may benefit him. Yeah, it's kind of funny. You could play both ways. All right, now to be fair,
yes,
we're going to play one Trump ad. Trump's got an ad on the air in Florida hitting Rubio.
All right,
Little Marco.
Let it roll.
Big Donald hits Little Marco.
Corrupt Marco Rubio has spent years defrauding the people of Florida. As a legislator, he flipped on a key vote after making a quick $200,000 from selling his house to the mother of the bill's lobbyist. He used the Republican Party's credit card to pave his driveway and live it up in Las Vegas. When he got caught, he said he had used the wrong credit card. But he had used the same Republican Party card for 6 flights between Miami and Tallahassee. Then billed the state for the same airline tickets and pocketed the cash until, once again, he got caught. On top of it all, Rubio's been a total no-show in the U.S. Senate with the worst voting record of all. Marco Rubio, another corrupt, all-talk, no-action politician.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I like the voice until the last 3 seconds.
Oh, scary music, too. I'm scared.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Warm right now. It is 58 degrees. Am I seeing that correctly? Yeah. Wait till you get outside. You will ditch that winter coat. Going up to a high today of 68 degrees. Rain on and off tonight, and tomorrow mostly cloudy, even warmer. We could break a record and hit 70 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Anything record-breaking out there? Here's Jim Telemonte.
So far, so good. Amy and Dan, things are a little heavy on the inbound Stevenson now. Pulaski to Kedzie. The Ryan has a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson to downtown Chicago. Issue 4 to 6-minute delay. 115th to the merge. Northbound Tri-State just a little heavy, approaching 290. There's a crash reported northbound 394 before Steger Road. Fire crews in northwest Indiana remain at the scene of an overnight extra alarm blaze. The 200 block of Hollywood near Holman Avenue in Munster. I'm Jim Talamonte. The Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Discover Westmont, a community nestled in the heart of DuPage County. With top-notch schools, beautiful affordable housing, and excellent dining and shopping, Westmont makes a great place to live, work, and play. Choose Westmont. Discover how your business can flourish and grow with a wonderful central location providing rapid access to Chicago's key expressways, airports, and many family-friendly amenities. Add quick transportation on the Burlington train line, and that means simple and easy travel for everyone. Westmont is committed to working collaboratively with you to facilitate inquiries about your family or business relocation. We'll help your company navigate to Westmont for a great experience. Call Larry Forsberg at Westmont Economic Development at 630-824-9337. That's 630-824-9337 to find out about incentives that can help you plan your development, relocation, or expansion. Discover all Westmont has to offer. For more information, visit ChooseWestmont.com. That's ChooseWestmont.com.
If medications haven't helped you treat your depression, why haven't you tried TMS therapy offered by Theramind? Now there is a way to successfully treat your depression without the need for meds and their harmful side effects. TMS therapy is covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. Don't continue to suffer needlessly. Call Theramind. Don't wait. Call Theramind now. 847-562-5868. The single greatest advancement to date in treating depression is TMS. It's an FDA-cleared, non-drug, safe, and effective treatment. TMS has already changed the lives of over 50,000 patients. Why not you? Visit TMSmind.com. Depression can be beaten, and without drugs. Call Theramind today, 847-562-5868, or get more info at TMSmind.com. That's Theramind at 847-562-5868, or online at TMSmind.com.
Fact, approximately 60% of all residential properties in Cook County are overassessed and paying way too much in property taxes. Here's the good news. If you live anywhere in Cook County, Chicago, or the burbs, now there's a way to find out in 60 seconds or less if you're one of the 60% that's overpaying. IAppealPropertyTax.com will give you your estimated savings without cost or obligation. If you decide to appeal your taxes, IAppealPropertyTax.com handles the entire process for a modest flat fee depending on your actual tax savings. IAppealPropertyTax.com has an 85% success rate once the appeal is filed. And if your appeal isn't successful, it costs you $0. So if you're a Cook County property owner and even suspect your taxes are too high, visit IAppealPropertyTax.com. That's IAppealPropertyTax.com. Do it now. You've got nothing to lose and potentially a lot to save. IAppealPropertyTax.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So, Amy, Nancy Reagan's funeral Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it is on Friday. And they're expecting about 1,000 people. And what she and Ronald Reagan did before they died, even while they were in the White House, they planned out their funerals from the pallbearers to who's going to be handing out programs.
Well,
so I mean,
not
they
surprised
knew,
because this is going to be both are big events, obviously.
Right.
Well, one of the more interesting people that may be in attendance, Mr. T.
Oh, Mr. T?
You know him from such shows as the A-Team?
Yes. Mr. T and the A-Team. I interviewed him once when they left. Remember they cut down the trees once in Lake Forest? That was a big news story. But then later they left, garbage in front of their house, bags and bags. And
B.A. Baracus can do whatever he wants.
Well, okay. What was his Clubber Lang?
Clubber Lang.
Clubber Lang?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my dog's last name, Clubber Lang. The kids named him.
You know what the BA stood for, don't you? Bad attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. T tweeted about Nancy Reagan because he was invited to the White House by the Reagans to participate in the Just Say No program.
Oh, good.
He tweeted about her. That was the highlight of my career, to be asked to work with the First Family in such a great cause. It wasn't political because I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm just a Christian brother from the hood trying to do some good. I will truly miss First Lady Nancy Reagan. I will never forget her, Mr. T said. And then he added, I pity the fool that makes fun of Nancy Reagan.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I do feel slightly better. I can't explain it. It's like underlying. I can't explain it. I broke my leg twice, my left leg, and it used to bother me, but now it's not bothering me that much. I mean, you know, I also bowl on Friday nights. I mean, it used to kill me, but now I find that I could do that and without being in any discomfort.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you, or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Monday, March 14th. Estate planning attorney Robert Sapolis will explain how to create your living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Monday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. That's 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk POTUS politics with Sean Trend, senior elections analyst for RealClearPolitics.com at 6:06.
And looky here, President Obama is inserting himself in a local primary race. We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. A man sues the Chicago Archdiocese, claiming discrimination. Protests expected during Donald Trump's visit to the city of Chicago, while former President Bill Clinton campaigns in this state. Lovie Smith takes over at Illinois as the Bulls were too much for the Bucks, and a cloudy, windy, and warm day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They are just starting to vote now in Michigan.
If I win, it will mean that young people and working class people are coming out in large numbers.
But Bernie Sanders trails Hillary Clinton in the polls in that state, and she says she understands voters are angry.
That's why I'm not over-promising. I'm telling you what I can do and how I think I can actually deliver results.
As for her private emailing while Secretary of State, Clinton told a Fox News town hall forum
it was a mistake
and that nothing was marked classified at the time. There's also a Democratic primary in Mississippi. Republicans will be voting in both of those states as well, and later in Hawaii and Idaho. Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Detroit.
Dave, the biggest contest today for the Republicans, it's here in Michigan, where 59 Republican delegates are up for grabs, and where the economy and jobs top the concerns among voters, some of whom that we talked to are still undecided.
Actually, up until yesterday, I was pretty sure, but I'm not sure right now.
There's not really any one person that I feel like I can strongly support right now.
The latest polls show that Donald Trump leads here by double digits in most polls against Ted Cruz and John Kasich, who are in a statistical dead heat. Worst case scenario for John Kasich is not coming in at least second here. Marco Rubio trails in third. Dave.
Jeff, a nightmare on a commuter train during stormy weather in California. A downed tree on the tracks derailed it, sending the lead car into a swollen creek.
I was never more happy to see flashing lights in my life when they popped up across the side of the road. And we knew that they were here and everybody was rolling.
Those rescuers were able to pull passengers to safety. In all, 9 people were injured. There's a new report released by the Governor's Highway Safety Association saying that there are an increase in pedestrian deaths by about 10% last year, and it blames a growing use of cell phones distracting drivers and walkers. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, 56 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. There is a news conference later this morning about a case involving first-degree murder charges that have been filed against a Chicago man in the death of a 9-year-old who police say was lured from a playground and shot in the head because of his father's gang ties. Chicago police say 22-year-old Dwight Doty was charged Monday night in the November death of Tyshawn Lee. Donald Trump's visit to Chicago this week could bring out the protesters at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And some Chicago politicos are organizing those protests, as AM 560's David Stewart reports.
Congressman Luis Gutierrez stood with aldermen and others to call for a large crowd to show up Friday outside the UIC pavilion.
We will not allow Donald Trump to come to Chicago without raising our voices to denounce his bigotry, his hatred, and his prejudice.
UIC students and faculty are also trying to block Trump's appearance. A student leader gathered 40,000 signatures on a petition asking administrators to cancel the rally because it could turn violent. David Stewart, Chicago.
A gay man who claims he was fired from a Catholic church after announcing his engagement to marry another man is suing the Archdiocese of Chicago. Colin Collette worked for 17 years as music director at Holy Family Church in Inverness. Yesterday, he filed a federal civil rights lawsuit claiming discrimination. He says he was fired in 2014 after announcing he was going to marry his longtime partner. There is no response yet to the lawsuit from the Chicago Archdiocese. Chicago sports. Bulls beat Milwaukee 100-90. College hoops. Our Northern Illinois Huskies over Western Michigan in the MAC tournament, 56-50. Spring baseball. Kansas City over a split squad of Cubs, 3-2, while the White Sox out-homered the Angels, 9-4. The news, a service of InvisibleFence.com. Protect your pets with Invisible Fence brand. Keep them in the yard, away from the fireplace, and off the furniture. Invisible Fence brand has the answer to training your pets at InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand can install in any weather, rain or snow. Visit InvisibleFence.com. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You don't win by accident.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
So this is your year to win. You don't get out of debt. You don't save your marriage by accident. You don't increase the quality of your marriage by accident. You don't raise great kids accidentally. These are intentional acts that you make choices on the variables in your environment and you form and control your life.
Make the most of your money and get out of debt. He's Dave Ramsey, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Men alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-715-3081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-715-3081. That's 800-715-3081. Again, 800-715-3081.
6:06 is our time, and in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. And Berwyn, there's a crash, Oak Park Avenue at Ogden. The Edens are still fine. The Kennedy delay-free. In Bella Eisenhower, though, it's heavy Manheim to 1st Avenue. 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 5 at 29. Stevenson, slow central to Kedzie. 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound it's clear. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 21. Northbound Tri-State heavy at 290. Traffic service of Chicagoland, JiffyLube.com. You don't have to make an appointment at Jiffy Lube. They offer more than just oil changes. To get a high-quality oil change, wiper blades, or any other preventive maintenance, Jiffy Lube has you covered. For more details and big savings on your service, visit ChicagolandJiffyLube.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy, windy, and warm, high 66. Mild with on and off rain and drizzle tonight, low 57. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, high 64. Rain at times tomorrow night with a low of 46. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
57 at O'Hare, 58 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by DS Arms Pro Shop and Factory Showroom in Lake Barrington. Much more than a gun store. Visit dsarms.com for more information.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football.
I would love to take on Ted one-on-one. That would be so much fun.
You know, I think Donald suffered some real damage over the last week. People are starting to learn that Donald Trump, the character, and Donald Trump, the person, are not the same thing.
The State Department decides what is, and let me go a step further here. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
If there is a large voter turnout, we will win.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What up? 4 primaries today. Well, 3 primaries and a caucus.
Hey, that sounds like a rock band. 3 primaries and a caucus.
That is actually a pretty good band name.
Huh?
Yeah, I like
but
that.
Who would come out to see it? Who would come out to vote?
You know what? Actually, even Hawaii Caucus is not a bad band name.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you're going to do like Don Ho songs.
Right.
Maybe.
So Hawaii, Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi for the Republicans, and for the Democrats, just Mississippi and Michigan.
Yeah, no one cares about the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Well, 147 delegates.
Yeah, I know.
In Michigan alone.
Yeah, I know. It's Hillary versus the FBI at this stage, not Hillary versus Bernie. But on the Republican side, Trump poised in Michigan. It seems like Cruz kind of playing for second place there, but Cruz making a play in Idaho. And I think making a play in Mississippi, too. I mean, Cruz needs to win states like Mississippi if he is going to derail Trump, it seems to me. But let's get a a deeper dig on this from our friend Sean Trendy. He is Senior Elections Analyst for RealClearPolitics.com, and he joins us now. Sean, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So what about that? What is Cruz trying to accomplish today if we concede that the fight in Michigan is for second place?
Well, I think Cruz's main goal right now is to kind of stay in the game today. He wants to win in Idaho, maybe do something in Hawaii. But, Michigan is looking like a race between Cruz and Kasich right now, and Mississippi is pretty much Trump and Kasich, and Mississippi is pretty much tailor-made for Trump. So second place there is what Cruz is hoping for.
Now, Cruz got an endorsement, Governor Phil Bryant, yesterday, the Republican governor of Mississippi. Do you see maybe something happening flying off of Louisiana on Saturday night where late breakers in the South are maybe kind of following the viewpoint that was articulated by Rubio at the top of this segment here, where he said people are starting to make a distinction between Donald Trump the character and Donald Trump the person?
It's possible that that's what we're seeing, but Mississippi is like Louisiana, only more so. I mean, it doesn't have a major metropolitan area like New Orleans, which is where Trump ran the worst. There's a higher African-American population. He tends to run better in higher African-American counties, most likely among the whites there. So I think Mississippi, if Trump loses Mississippi, it's a sign that something really big is going on.
Now, Marco Rubio struggling to break out. The latest polls show that he's down 8 points in Florida. But even if he's just one vote off, Florida's a winner-take-all state. So what do you think? Can he make up the momentum a week from today and beat Trump?
When you dig down into that poll, it shows that among early voters, he's actually up like 17 points. In other words, the people who've already cast their ballots. So his hope is that he keeps that momentum going, makes inroads among Election Day voters, and then, some of Trump's voters just don't show up, which we have seen in some of these states.
So if Trump does hold on in Michigan, if he holds on in Mississippi, then do you think he blunts all of this rally around whoever has the best chance to beat Trump? So, for example, Ted Cruz, and goes on to whether he wins both Florida and Ohio on Tuesday, a week from today, next Tuesday, goes on to the nomination. I mean, is it still trending there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you expected to win Mississippi, so I don't think that really fits into it. I think Michigan is more of a test case, but even then, I mean, the real test is going to come next week when you have Florida, Illinois, North Carolina, Ohio. If he sweeps those states, this race is effectively over. It's not entirely over, but pretty much. So this is kind of like a warm-up act to give us some idea what to expect next week.
But what if John Kasich takes Ohio? Wouldn't that change things around a little bit? Because, again, that's another winner-takes-all state.
Yeah, if John Kasich wins Ohio, then, that deprives Trump of 66 delegates that he really needs. And it probably, just as importantly, if Kasich wins Ohio, it probably means he's run well in Michigan, stolen some delegates from Trump there, and also Illinois, which is, a big delegate state.
Yeah, he's coming here tomorrow to campaign.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess my point, do you really sense that there's anything afoot? It seems like Trump is coming back to the pack a bit, but, I mean, Mike Huckabee won a bunch of states in 2008 when the race was a fait accompli for McCain, and the same thing happened with Santorum against Romney. Rubio's got a couple of caucuses, and Cruz has half a dozen states at this point. Is it more likely that we're talking about something that looks like 08 or 12 than we're talking about a contested convention?
I don't think so, because the key thing is Trump doesn't have a majority of the delegates. He's actually pretty substantially short. He only has about a third of the popular vote, and so until he really shows he's going to go above 50%, the Republican Party is going to fight tooth and nail to keep him from getting there. And as this field winnows, as it does come down to two candidates, Trump doesn't show a lot of growth. I mean, the polls, the head-to-head polls yesterday that we saw when they kind of dropped out all the other candidates, Trump doesn't fare so well. So assuming some of these candidates will drop out eventually, that makes it tough for Trump to close down the stretch.
Well, so Trump and Cruz have both said the same thing. I would love to take on the other guy one-on-one. Is Trump, is that more bravado than real desire based on the numbers then for Trump?
The numbers are not favorable for Trump in that situation. That's just a simple fact. I mean, Cruz does quite well against him in these states in head-to-head. He was up, I think, 7 points on Trump in Michigan. This large, strong GOP field was seen as a real boon for Republicans at the outset, but it's turned into what's really driving Trump towards a potential nomination.
And speaking of Donald Trump, yesterday, Michael Bloomberg, not that he was officially going to run, but he said that he made it official that he's not going to be seeking, as a third-party candidate. And he claimed that he bowed out because he doesn't want Trump to be guaranteed the presidency.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an overstatement, that Trump would be guaranteed the presidency, but it certainly would give him a much better chance. I think there was a huge sigh of relief from the Clinton camp, because there's no doubt that Bloomberg's, whatever vote totals Bloomberg got, were going to come mostly out of her side.
On the just from looking at it from the Democrats' perspective, it seems to me you hear from a lot of Democrat political consultants. We had Joe Trippi on the show saying something along the lines of, we'd probably rather face Cruz because Trump is just a bit of a wild card. He has kind of unorthodox appeal. Cruz is more kind of, cut from central casting in terms of a conservative Republican. We know how to run against that type of candidate. I wonder if you think that's real or the Democrats are just kind of projecting Trump because they actually do want to run against him.
Well, I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, Trump. If anything, Trump has shown this election that you don't want to underestimate him. The problem is that Trump has some downside variants too. I mean, there's a chance that Trump could just implode and bring the Republican Senate and House completely down with him. So, and Cruz, whatever his shortcomings, and there are many, would be unlikely to do that. So I think if I'm a Democrat, I'd rather run against Trump and have a shot at unified control in Washington.
And is that why you see like the Lindsey Grahams of the world and others say, look, if it looks like Cruz is the only one that could stop Trump, then even if I don't like Cruz, we have to rally around him because they're thinking down ballot about control of the Senate and control of the House.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
Does anybody like Senator Ted Cruz in Washington, D.C.?
No.
Absolutely not. I mean, what did he do that was so polarizing? That was, I know he's had his filibusters. I know he's, has a
called Mitch McConnell a liar on the Senate floor.
Judeo-Christian, focused speeches. But what is it that people can't stand him?
I mean, that's it. He's just kind of the sense is that Ted. I mean, all politicians are out for themselves, but there's a sense that Ted Cruz kind of takes that maxim to a higher level. He called his Senate Majority Leader a liar on the floor of the Senate. You just don't do that. So, it's just a series of events like that.
Do you see any path for a Rubio or even a Kasich, even were they to win their home state, maybe even if Kasich surprised in Michigan today? Is there any path for them short of a contested convention?
If there's a path for Kasich and Rubio, it lies in the other one dropping out, and neither one seems intent on doing that. But look, they steal each other's voters. I mean, if Kasich hadn't been in, Rubio probably would have won Vermont and Virginia on Super Tuesday, and it would have been a different storyline and vice versa. So they're killing each other. Neither shows much interest in dropping out.
All right. He is Sean Trendy, Senior Elections Analyst for RealClearPolitics.com. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
it. Joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Warm day. You can ditch that winter jacket and don't even think about grabbing gloves because it is a balmy 58 degrees right now, going up to a high of 68 degrees. Our average high this time of year is 43, so enjoy this. And then tonight, on and off rain and drizzle. And tomorrow, mainly cloudy with spotty showers. The temperature near the record high of 69 degrees. Road travel times on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Kennedy inbound slow from the River O'Toole to Canfield. 22 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 23, slow Montrose to Sayre. Eisenhower, 36 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 30. Stevenson, 39 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Southbound 55 has delays. Lockport Road to Renwick, where there's a crash in the left lane. Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Mission 421, eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Beverly to 59. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
69, dudes!
It's Dan Proft, gentlemen. You may have seen the news story on NBC Nightly News recently about new medical research on the benefits of testosterone treatment.
I did see that.
Did you?
Did you watch it? Oh no, you don't watch Nightly News.
Yeah, well,
Wah-wah.
I'm
above that.
I'm
We
under
know.
70.
Okay.
Yeah. And how did you find that story? Did you enjoy it?
Hard to watch.
Oh boy. You're like Trump.
School on Sunday, no class.
Low-T Center and their national medical director was featured on the news story that Amy watched and now denigrated. You've been hearing me talk about the Low-T Center a lot lately because when it comes to your health, you should go to a medical provider that you can trust and that specializes in testosterone. That's why I went to Low-T Center and met with their medical staff. Their physicians exclusively diagnose and treat men with low T. If you're a man over 40 and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. At Low-T Center, their service is covered by most health insurance, and you'll know your results within 45 minutes. So call today, 630-409-4305. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. That's 630-409-4305. Or go to lowtcenter.com.
Please clap.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Listen to what Democrats are saying about Marco Rubio.
There is no question Rubio is the Republican Democrats fear most.
Definitely the Republican they don't want to face.
Marco Rubio scares me. He should be the one you don't want to face.
A Democrat nightmare.
They're right. Marco Rubio is the Democrats' worst nightmare because Marco Rubio is a recognized national security expert. It was Marco Rubio who earned national conservative praise for outsmarting the Democrats on Obamacare. And it was Marco Rubio who took on the political establishment, beat the insiders, and won. He'll unite Republicans and beat Hillary Clinton. The next generation of conservative leadership. Marco Rubio for president. Now. Conservative Solutions PAC paid for and is responsible for this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. ConservativeSolutionsPAC.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by Citizens for Michelle Moore.
AM 560, The Answer.
Know who this is? It's touched your knowledge of 80s music.
Please. You know, I can sing the song without looking at the lyrics, but I cannot remember the artist nor the title. Well, the song is What Are Words For It, right?
Yeah, so you're glad you picked up on the refrain.
No one cares. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
It's a
Do you care?
It's a little pitchy for me.
Yeah.
A little pitchy.
I'm a little off today. I'm losing my head voice.
As you know, when it comes to 80s music knowledge, I have no peer. So would you like me to tell you?
Please, I'm dying inside. I really want to know.
The band name is Missing Persons.
Oh, that's right. Missing Person.
And you're welcome.
Thank you. Because
Yeah.
you know I'm going to download that song.
But the
Because
important...
every time we have these conversations, my iTunes list gets a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, you're
that
welcome.
Air Supply Jam, still have it. Love that. Best, greatest hits, Air Supply. You should
And
really download it too.
I am a lot of love.
Pardon?
I am a lot of love. So what are words for when Hillary uses them, right? And it's to no particular purpose. Bret Baier hosted a Fox News town hall. The Democrats came. Fox News town hall for two socialists, two old
Well, it's the
socialists.
first time Hillary Clinton sat down with Fox News since 2014.
She's actually standing up.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That was a completely different interview.
She allowed Fox News Channel to record her. Okay?
And Bret Baier did a pretty good job deposing her on the email matter. Tried to do kind of some rapid fire questions to get some answers on the record and then build the dialogue there. And then, they went to the audience and then it kind of devolved. But here's Bret Baier starting out. The FBI and the FBI's contact or lack of contact with Hillary and her inner circle of cackle caucusites.
I've heard others say that neither you nor your lawyers have been apprised that you are a target of the investigation. Is that true?
Absolutely true.
Have you or your lawyers been apprised that any members of your current or former staff are targets of the investigation?
Absolutely not.
At the time you and your staff deleted nearly 32,000 emails, about half of the total volume, were you aware that the server was going to be sought as evidence by federal authorities?
No, but let me clarify this, because there's much misinformation going on around here, and let me just start with the basic facts. I have said it wasn't the best choice to use a personal email. It was a mistake. However, I am not alone in that. Many people in the government, past and current, have on occasion or as a practice done the same.
Yeah, not
Okay,
exactly
so
true, but
Oh no!
well,
This is her plausible deniability because
most of it's not true, actually.
everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are doing it, Dan.
Yeah.
So I'm exempt because nothing's wrong because we're all doing it.
Yeah, is that so? When Peyton and Eli come to you and you say, "Why did you do that? That was wrong," and they said, "Well, other people did it too," then that absolves them from doing the thing
And
that was wrong.
That's what you and they apply. Well, if they jumped off a bridge, would you jump off the bridge too? No, you
If
don't
only
follow.
Hillary would do that. So those were her answers. Has not been contacted by the FBI. Attorneys have not been contacted by the FBI. No one has said that she is a target. No one from the FBI or Justice has said she's a target of their investigation.
Yeah, but when the FBI is investigating you, isn't that a criminal? I mean, you had to do something wrong for an FBI investigation.
Well, right. They don't do civil investigations.
Right.
They do criminal
Right.
investigations. And also, the point was made the other day that, the fact that she hasn't been brought in for a friendly conversation and the fact that there was this immunity deal struck with the young man who set up her server last week, that does
His
suggest...
name's Brian P.
Yeah. That does suggest that maybe they're doing what they often do, which is work their way up the food chain of a particular organization to the actual target, whether that target has been formally identified or not. That's just a thought. We don't know, and I know the Democrats dismiss this, and so do the Democrats in the Washington Press Corps, as any real possibility or anything serious. But it seems to me that it is serious. Now, she went on to address the issue of classified versus not classified information she was trafficking in her private server that was susceptible to hacking, probably was hacked according to experts. And listen to this explanation in terms of classified versus not classified information.
Let me just clarify. The State Department has redacted and declared 2,101 of your work emails classified, at least at the confidential level, 44 classified as secret, 22 classified as top secret. So you said at a March press conference in 2015, quote, "I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material." So can we say definitively that that statement's not accurate?
No, you can't. Here's what happens. The State Department has a process for determining what is or isn't classified. If they determine it is, they mark it as classified.
Well, who decides?
The State Department
But
decides.
what about you when you're typing an email?
No, the State Department decides what is, and let me go a step further here. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
Yeah, well, that is not true. And here's the other thing. She explains.
It's so not true.
She explains that, well, when there's a public inquiry for a document or information from the State Department, then they go and say, well, we should classify this because we don't want to deliver this to the public because it's a state secret. But if you're Secretary of State, if you're the chief essentially foreign intelligence officer of the nation, should you know that you're trafficking in state secrets that you wouldn't want broadcast on the 6 o'clock news, that you wouldn't want exposed to hackers? So are you incompetent, or are you nefarious, or some combination of the two?
Well,
that should have been the follow-up question.
Yeah.
Her answers just don't pass the laugh test, and I hope the FBI concludes the same.
Vast right-wing conspiracy.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The only significant, among all the vitamins I changed, nothing affected cholesterol. I took this and my cholesterol dropped by 15 or 20%.
Yeah, with the acid reflux, and I have GERD and gastritis, and it really seems to be helping a lot, and my husband too. I mean, we're very happy with the product, I got to say it. It's been great, and we've seen dramatic results, so I can't say anything bad about it. We've really been happy with the product. We've been amazed with it.
There is a value in it because it has fruits and veggies, and I'm not a fruit and veggies eater, and I know this is helpful.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, President Obama. He's getting involved in a local primary race.
Yeah, got nothing but time on his hands. He could get involved in the state rep race in Chicago. That's at 6:36.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. We have 57 degrees, wind south at 10, and more than a dozen recovering from severe injuries this morning following a train derailment near San Francisco last night. Alameda County Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly says an investigation this morning is underway around the Altamont Corridor Express train.
I've heard word of possibly a tree that fell along the tracks and may have caused the derailment. So we'll be looking at all that.
Meantime, the tree apparently caused one of the cars to leave the rails and flip into a fast-moving creek. You may recall California has seen some severe and heavy rain recently. It ended up on its side in that fast-moving creek, and those who were not hurt helped those who were hurt in the first car of that train out before rescuers arrived. Michigan voters go to the polls today to make selections in the Democratic and Republican presidential primaries. Ohio Governor John Kasich said during a campaign stop in Monroe that there should be less federal control over some taxes that states collect.
So I have a proposal for you. Why don't we just not send the federal taxes to Washington and use it right here in Michigan to pave our roads the way we want to?
Democrats battled in Detroit at a town hall with candidate Hillary Clinton insisting she's not the target of an FBI investigation into the way she handled her email.
I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified. Now, what happens when you ask or when you are asked to make information public is that it's reviewed and different agencies come in with their opinions.
Clinton used a personal server and a private email account. On Fox News Channel, Bernie Sanders reacted to former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg deciding not to run for president.
What does concern me, Brett, on a broader scale is Mr. Bloomberg is a billionaire. And I think it's a bad idea for American democracy that the only people who feel in many ways that they can run for president are people who have so much money.
There's also a primary contest in Mississippi. Idaho holds its Republican primary, and GOP voters in Hawaii will caucus as well. One of South Florida's largest newspapers will not be endorsing any of the Republican candidates for president. The Broward County-based Sun-Sentinel announcing its editorial board cannot back one of the four remaining candidates. It did call Ohio Governor John Kasich the best of the bunch. A news conference about a case is planned later today in Chicago after first-degree murder charges were filed against a Chicago man in the death of a 9-year-old, Tyshawn Lee, who police say was lured from a playground and shot in the head because of his father's gang ties. NBA last night, Bulls beat Milwaukee 100-90. Men's college hoops, our Northern Illinois Huskies over Western Michigan in the MAC tournament, 56-50. Spring baseball, Kansas City beat a split squad of Cubs. Colorado beat the other Cubs split squad, while the White Sox top the Angels. The news, a service of Fix Auto Collision Centers. Crashed your car? You have a friend in the business with Fix Auto Collision Centers with locations throughout Chicago. Call Fix Auto Collision Centers today at 800-INFO-FIX. 800-INFO-FIX. That's 1-800-INFO-FIX. 6:35 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Even after a win in Nevada, Mike Gallagher isn't ready to call Trump the nominee.
The establishment, make no mistake, these guys do not like Donald Trump. They do not like Ted Cruz. But these guys are saying it looks like it's going to be Trump. You're not going to be able to stop Trump. And I have to confess, I don't see that right now. And I wonder if that's not a bit of a game that they're playing. Because there's a lot of gamesmanship, let's face it.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
No matter what type of business you're in, having a strong business banking partnership can help your bottom line. I'm Jeff Boundy, president of Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company. We strongly believe that trust, service, and relationship are the cornerstone of a successful business banking partnership. Customers like Rick Williams of Pump Supply agree.
Hi, my name is Rick Williams, owner of Pump Supply Incorporated. As a business owner, I recognize the importance of relationships. I need a bank that understands my business and is able to respond quickly and creatively to the needs of my company. Cornerstone has been a valuable business partner and has helped me grow my company and seize opportunities as I come across them. Whether it's providing a line of credit or financing the acquisition of equipment or real estate, Cornerstone has been there for me every step of the way.
Thanks, Rick. Please visit cornerstonenb.com, or I invite you to give me a call at 847-654-3000 to explore a business banking partnership.
Equal Opportunity Lender, member FDIC.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. Now, 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. You need to call Saul Z and the Z team based right here in Chicagoland. Now, Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Now, Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
6:37. Let's get an update on the roads at our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens has delays from Toohey to the junction. It's 23 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound fine at 19. Kennedy, 28 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 26. Inbound Eisenhower, 42 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 32. Stevenson, really slow First Avenue to Kedzie. 47 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound fine at 34. On Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 421. On Tri-State slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Beverly to 59. Traffic is a service of InvisibleFence.com. Protect your pets with Invisible Fence brand. Keep them in the yard, away from the fireplace, and off the furniture. Invisible Fence brand has the answer to training your pets at InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand can install in any weather, rain or snow. Visit InvisibleFence.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, windy, and warm today, high 68. Mild overnight, on and off rain and drizzle, low 57. 58 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Autumn Leaves Memory Care Communities, now open in Glen Ellen. Take a virtual tour at autumnleaves.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, I wonder what the White House briefing was yesterday, the presidential briefing. You know, he gets a briefing every day, the President of the United States, and worried about a nuclear North Korea, what's going on in the Middle East, particularly Syria, thinking about our borders maybe. What about Obamacare premiums, the deductible skyrocketing in states? There's so many issues for the President of the United States to address, but none more important than weighing in on a state rep race in the city of Chicago. President Obama yesterday endorsing a Democrat state rep candidate named Julia Stratton.
Yeah, and the ads came out yesterday, radio and TV ads, and now Juliana Stratton can now tell people she is being backed by President Obama.
Juliana will fight to get guns off our streets and fight for tougher penalties for violent offenders. I'm Barack Obama. I'm asking you to vote for Democrat Juliana Stratton for state representative.
So
It's fascinating. So
what's going on? Because we've had Duncan on, State Rep Ken Duncan, a few times, and the last time we talked to him, remember, we got his response because President Obama called him out when he came to Springfield and spoke before the House.
Well, we'll talk later, Duncan. You just see him.
And Duncan went on to say that they're really good friends. In fact, I think he's going to see him at Obama at the White House in April.
Okay, so let's set the table on this a little bit. So Duncan is the incumbent. He's been there 13 years. Duncan, this is a district in Chicago that goes from, as Ken Duncan says, the Gold Coast to the Soul Coast, the Gold Coast to South Shore. Ken Duncan broke from the caucus, the Democrat caucus in the House, and was absent without leave last summer on legislation that the House and Senate that was vetoed by the governor, and the House and Senate attempted to override the veto. They needed Duncan's vote to override the veto. This legislation would have removed the governor from the collective bargaining process as it pertains to striking a new collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. So this is the deal. So it's a power play.
Right, but was Duncan, did he do it on his own admission, or was he paid by a super PAC to change his vote to make sure the veto would not be overrode?
Well, first of all, paid by a super PAC. A super PAC is not allowed to make those kind of direct contributions. Okay. And number two, everything that super PACs do is disclosed. I should know. I run one. So here's the deal. By the way, again, the interest of full disclosure, I've said this before, but when we had Ken Duncan on the show, an organization I'm affiliated with called Illinois Opportunity Project, which is a C4, not a super PAC.
Well, what's the difference between a C4 and a super PAC? Just help me out here.
A super PAC is an independent expenditure PAC that does political work, that supports candidates for office as defined by their statement of organization, independent of the candidates and campaigns they're supporting, like Jeb Bush's Right to Rise PAC, or all of the super PACs that are supporting various presidential candidates. The same thing is operative at the state and local level. Okay. A C4 is a nonprofit designation where you do policy advocacy. You're also allowed to do some political work. It cannot be a majority of what you do. These are different tax designations set up by the IRS. So the Illinois Opportunity Project, with which I'm affiliated, has made substantial donations, direct donations, which they're allowed to do to Ken Duncan's campaign.
Right, to the tune, $500,000.
Wrong, $800,000. This is about a $3 million race, both sides. What's actually happening here, this is a proxy race. Governor Rauner is supporting Duncan, and organizations that support the governor's turnaround agenda are supporting Ken Duncan because he has left, in his words, left the plantation, Mike Madigan's plantation in the House, and he is being punished for doing so. Remember this. 13 years Ken Duncan has been a state representative. So when he was doing Madigan's bidding, which he did for the most part, although he has shown streaks of independence before, for example, he supported James Meeks' school choice bill several years back, which is also something I'm supportive of.
Good to note. That's good to know, because some people claim that he changed his position on school choice because of donations, which is not true, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Okay, go on.
That was 6 years ago, before Governor Rauner. He was even contemplating running for governor, before anybody knew who Governor Rauner was outside of the business world. I've lost my train of thought. So anyway, Duncan is being punished by Madigan for leaving, and they want to eliminate him with this woman, Julia Stratton, who's being backed by the public sector union. So this is a fight between those that want to do something different, at least on some issues. Duncan's not going to flip parties and endorse the turnaround agenda wholesale, but on some issues, like as it pertains to workers' comp reform, maybe, certainly not stripping the governor of his power to collectively bargain, just as previous governors have had the power to collectively bargain. Duncan is not in line with the Madigan Democrats, and he's being punished for that. And now Rahm brings in President Obama, which is, I suspect, is what's happening, because Rahm is essentially doing the bidding of Madigan and Cullerton. This is a power play between Madigan and Rauner, who will win the day with respect to advancing some component parts of the structural reform Rauner wants, or continuing to propagate the same failed system that Mike Madigan has propagated for the last 30 years. No reforms. So that's what this is all about.
Ken Duncan has said so himself, that he's a target of Mike Madigan.
Mike Madigan will tell elected officials to do whatever he thinks he can do to try to derail an independent voice for a man who is standing up in this district.
Yeah, but then 2 nights ago, Alderman Pat Dowell, and Jesse White came forward saying that Duncan is, giving voters $50 bills if they promise to vote for him, and this is how he's doing it.
We cannot have the sanctity of voting broken by a desperate and unethical candidate who is seeking to do everything that he can to win an election.
And then they showed this bizarre video of people in his office. It was very strange because there was no audio attached to it, and it just seemed like a witch hunt to me. And Duncan tried to defend himself.
It is another sample or example of them being in a desperate mode and not talking about the issues.
Any Chicago alderman talking about the sanctity of the voting is rather comical to me. I want to know, going back to a point, Duncan serving 13 years in the Illinois House with the backing of all of these people that are now castigating him as some rogue operator violating the sanctity of the voting process and not worthy of continuing to serve in the House as part of the Democrat caucus, thus putting up Julia Stratton. So understand this. For 13 years, all of the people lied against Duncan or quiet or supportive of Duncan. He decided to change his mind, not go along on a particular issue, and the long knives are out. And that's what this is about. This is about control. Madigan wants power, and he wants his minions to behave like the minions they are. This has been the strongman form of government we've had at the state level. It's been the strongman form of government we've had at City Hall for generations, decades, epochs. And somebody steps out of line, and they get the hammer. And this is about sending a message, not just to Ken Duncan. This is about sending a message to the entire caucus. This is about sending a message to politicians at the municipal and state level, statewide. That's what this is, and thus.
So there's no voter fraud going on. This is just.
I have no idea what's going on in the streets.
She showed a $50 bill wrapped in a plastic bag.
I don't care. Well, whatever. I don't know. A big voter fraud in Chicago. Oh my gosh, gambling in the casino. I'm aghast. Ron on the South Side.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. You know what? Barack Obama, same guy that endorsed Rahm Emanuel, and through all this talk about the police cover-up, you didn't get a peep out of him, not a word. But he got time to make an endorsement. And it's funny because Duncan was running a commercial. You know that when the president told him, sit down, we'll talk later, as if, he was favorable about it. But, it doesn't surprise me because he's a backstabbing weasel, the president is. So, have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Nice summation.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Warm day ahead. Leave the winter coat, hat, boots, gloves. That can all stay home today because we have 60 degrees right now, going up to a high of 68 degrees. It's a little humid out there, too. And tonight, Some rain and drizzle on and off, and tomorrow mainly cloudy with spotty showers. The temperature could hit a record of 69, possibly 70 degrees. What year is this? What month is this? Here's Jim Telemonte with the travel time.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Eden's inbound. Delay started 23 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound 21. The Kennedy is now 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. A little quicker than the Express. Outbound 26. About Eisenhower, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the old post office. Outbound 35. Stevenson really heavy, especially from First Avenue to Kedzie. An hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 45 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound, it's fine. Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow Archer to LaGrange Road, Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway, slow Higgins to 53. Reagan Tollway, just a little sluggish, approaching the Eisenhower. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Wall Street bonuses decline for a third year in a row. Apple loses in the Supreme Court, but not over the iPhone case. Another state boosting its minimum wage. Those stories next.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a SelectQuote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-431-0848. That's 1-800-431-0848. 1-800-431-0848. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Average Wall Street bonuses fell 9% last year, according to the state controller in New York. Bonuses averaging $146,000, the third straight annual decline. Pennsylvania's Democratic Governor Tom Wolf raising his state's minimum wage by nearly $3 an hour. The move covers state government employees and workers on jobs contracted by the state of Pennsylvania. The U.S. Supreme Court has let stand a ruling that Apple conspired with publishers to raise electronic book prices as it tried to challenge Amazon's dominance in the market. Cornell University President Elizabeth Garrett, the first woman ever to hold the post, has died of colon cancer. She was 52. She once served President George W. Bush as an advisor on tax reform. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
A beauty day to play 18, huh, Dale? 80 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. The forecast looks great for the next 3 days, too. Looks like we'll just schedule 3 more courses this week.
You've been pretty lucky that you've been able to spend some quality time in the sun. Something that you may not be so lucky with is the fact that 1 in 5 people will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. At Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, they know that most people are unaware of the effects that a lifetime of sun can have on their skin. If you've been sunburned in your lifetime, it's time to have your skin checked out. Call Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates at 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. The doctors at Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates have your skin health covered. Skin cancer kills, so today's the day to get your skin checked. Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. Healthy skin, healthy body, healthy, happy you.
I'm Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea brought to you by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 27 Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent, so keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, what's the craziest thing you've ever heard in Illinois politics? Oh, wait, that's a loaded question.
Governor Blagojevich.
Well, this one guy, Robert Zwolinski, he's running against incumbent Cynthia Soto. He was outside of his campaign office, and he noticed some people putting up her signs by him, and he says that they attacked him with a fist, a bottle, and, yes, a staple gun.
They actually took the stapler that they used on there, and and my forehead.
Yeah, so he has a broken nose and other injuries, and his girlfriend was involved.
My passenger door gets yanked open, and this woman is standing there screaming at me to get out with a staple gun to my head.
So now these two, it's a man and a woman, have an attorney representing them that's saying, no, Zwolinski is the one who instigated the brawl.
But if all three of them are on the ground, it's possible that the staple gun got involved in some way. But he shouldn't have pushed a woman unprovoked. He shouldn't have started the fight.
Staple guns, like guns in Chicago, shoot themselves. I know Zwolinski a little bit. He's actually going to a lineup this morning. He's
right.
Going
to
to view
them.
a lineup to ID them. Yes. He's a nice kid, and he's got well,
I love the cash.
A real introduction into the kind of hardball Chicago politics.
But then they switched from the swing line to the Boston stapler, but I kept my swing line stapler because it didn't bind up as much, and I kept the staples for the swing line stapler.
Okay, Milton.
And no, it's not okay, because if they take my stapler, then I'll set the building on fire.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Sandy Rios for Illinois Families First. For many years as a Wheaton resident, I supported my friend, Congressman Peter Roskam. Peter was a pro-life conservative who made me very proud. But right now, I can't support him. We are $19 trillion in debt. Yet in November, Peter voted for a $1.1 trillion budget that fulfilled every wish President Obama desired. Funding for Planned Parenthood was increased. No restrictions on Obama's illegal executive amnesty. No restraints on his plan to bring in thousands of unvetted Muslim refugees. Congress has the power of the purse, yet Peter Roskam and the Republican leadership gave up their only means of restraint, and worse, called it good. We are on the brink of losing our country. The time for games is over. On March 15th, send a message. Elect Jay Kensler as your new conservative congressman in the 6th District.
Paid for by Illinois Families First, a federal political committee, and not authorized by or coordinated with any candidate or candidates committee.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
America has a serious narcotics problem. 90% of the world's narcotics are taken by Americans. They have a place, but when you're dealing with chronic pain, pain that doesn't go away or which frequently returns, there is a better way. You're masking the pain. We help you find and deal with the source of the chronic pain to get real relief. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in pain. Our team are national leaders, and we're educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. Contact us, we will help you. You don't have to live with chronic pain. We treat all pain. We don't mask it with painkillers and narcotics that are not good for you and which can be addictive. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
In my line of work, I'm trying to make a difference. Not $1 billion, but I do want to be able to save for the future. So this year I partnered with TIAA to help me map out what I should be doing. Together, we came up with a personalized plan for my finances. And now it seems like a life of rewarding work just might pay off for a lifetime.
See how we're helping those who do good do well at the new TIAA.org. TIAA, created to serve, built to perform.
Here are the stories we're watching today. Protests expected during Trump's visit to Chicago. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony, and the voting begins in Mississippi.
A vote for Marco Rubio or a vote for John Kasich is a vote for Donald Trump.
What Ted Cruz is saying is also what Marco Rubio is saying about him. There are Republican contests in 4 states. Michigan is the biggest prize. Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Detroit.
Dave, 59 Republican delegates are up for grabs here in Michigan, where, like in Mississippi, Idaho, and Hawaii, Donald Trump has the chance to clean up as he leads his competition. In the latest polls, Trump telling Fox 2 Detroit moments ago,
I'm doing really well in the polls because I'm so strong on the auto industry and so strong on economic development. So important.
John Kasich, who promised success here in the Rust Belt, has spent a lot of time here in Michigan, though battles Ted Cruz for second place, with Marco Rubio trailing ahead of next week's contests in Florida for Rubio and Ohio for Kasich, with the polls showing Trump in the lead. Dave?
Jeff, Hillary Clinton has led the polls going into today's Democrat voting in Michigan and Mississippi.
I want to rebuild people's confidence in our country and where we're headed in the future.
On the FBI probe dating back to her time as Secretary of State.
It wasn't the best choice to use a personal email.
Bernie Sanders also made his case to voters at that Fox News forum.
In the richest country in the history of the world, we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country.
Stormy weather derailed the train last night outside San Francisco. A downed tree on the tracks sent the front car plunging into a creek.
The train flipped over, and then I saw people falling over from the other side of the train.
9 people were injured. We all know the danger of distracted driving. How about walking? Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, pedestrian deaths surged by an estimated 10% last year, according to early data from the Governor Highway Safety Association, which found cell phone distraction among drivers and walkers may partly be to blame. The group also citing the low cost of gasoline and improving economy. Dave.
Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 59 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. A pleasant good morning. I'm Mike Scott. There will be a news conference later today about a case involving the death of a 9-year-old Chicago boy after first-degree murder charges were filed against a man in the death of that boy, lured from a playground, according to police, and then shot in the head because of his father's gang ties. Chicago police say 22-year-old Dwight Doty was charged in the November death of Tyshawn Lee. Donald Trump's visit to Chicago this week could bring out the protesters. Congressman Luis Gutierrez says a coalition of local Latino officials are organizing that demonstration ahead of the Trump rally. Bill Clinton in Evanston this morning campaigning for his wife a week before the state's primary. Bill, Teachers Union President Karen Lewis says parents shouldn't be worried about a possible day of action on April 1st.
They shouldn't be nervous. They shouldn't be upset. There should be no anxiety around it. It won't be something that's open-ended.
Lewis says plans for a demonstration have not been finalized, the union threatening a one-day strike over 3 unpaid furlough days. President Obama inserting himself in the state's legislative race, one that's become a proxy for the political battle between the governor and a state workers' union. We get details from AM 560's David Stewart.
I'm Barack Obama.
In a very rare move, President Obama cut radio and TV ads for Juliana Stratton in her primary challenge to State Rep Ken Duncan of Chicago, who's aligned himself with Governor Rauner.
Juliana Stratton has spent her career serving our community, improving the juvenile justice system, and protecting public safety.
Stratton has the backing of several unions against Duncan, who's being supported by PACs aligned with the anti-union Rauner. David Stewart, Chicago.
This morning, authorities are investigating a possible sexual assault on campus at Bradley University. Students telling officers that a woman was assaulted early Saturday by a young man inside a residence hall. The victim says she met that suspect at a party held in the same building. NBA last night, Bulls over Milwaukee 100-90. MAC tournament basketball, our Northern Illinois Huskies winners over Western Michigan 56-50. The news, a service of Fix Auto Collision Centers. Crashed your car? You have a friend in the business with Fix Auto Collision Centers, with locations throughout Chicago. Call Fix Auto Collision Centers today. 800-INFO-FIX, 800-INFO-FIX. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
University of Portland has launched a Speak Up webpage that encourages students to report incidents of discomfort to its public safety department.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
You don't even have to experience it. If you observe someone else experiencing an interaction of intolerance, then you go ahead and call the university's public safety department.
I just died a little inside.
Get your kids out of these overpriced totalitarian re-education centers.
Chicago's Morning Answer. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
I just feel like something's missing.
I know. What we had was so big.
And warm and bright.
And yellow.
Oh, I really miss the sun.
No sun? No problem. Centrum, the most trusted multivitamins, now have more of the vitamin D3 you need. Get the vitamin D you could be missing this winter with Centrum multivitamins. Now our highest level of D3 ever.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Man alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-715-3081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-715-3081. That's 800-715-3081. Again, 800-715-3081.
7:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is now much heavier on the Eisenhower with delays from Wolf to Independence. It's 56 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 43 from Manheim. Outbound 35 minutes to Thorndale. Eden's 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 21. Kennedy, 38 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 37. Inbound Stevenson, really slow, especially First Avenue to Kedzie. An hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 43 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound, it's fine. Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow 95th to Ogden, from Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and Bradley to 176. Crash in the left lane. Southbound, it's tied up from Oak Plain to 176. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Bartlett Road to 53. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour today, otherwise cloudy with a high 66. Then tonight, on and off rain and drizzle with a low 57. Tomorrow, areas of fog, otherwise mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, a high 64, and rain at night, low 46. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
58 at O'Hare, 59 at Midway, and your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Theramind, successful drug-free treatment for depression. Insurance accepted. Go to tmsmind.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football.
I would love to take on Ted one-on-one. That would be so much fun.
You know, I think Donald suffered some real damage over the last week. People are starting to learn that Donald Trump, the character, and Donald Trump, the person, are not the same thing.
The State Department decides what is, and let me go a step further here. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
If there is a large voter turnout, we will win.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Erin Andrews, $55 million verdict in her favor.
Not enough, Dan.
Not enough.
Well, she was asking
It's an aggressive position.
Yeah, no, she was asking for $75 million, and they came up with $55 million.
Real haircut there. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Of course, you can download the AM560 mobile app to communicate with us that way as well. The question is, just verdict, $55 million for having her privacy invaded by a stalker with, at least negligent behavior on behalf of the staff at the hotel in question.
Yeah, and the Illinois man, Michael Barrett, spent 27 months in prison for stalking her, for secretly videotaping her and then posting it on the internet. Here's how it's going to break down. 51% of the damages, that's $28 million, is going to be paid by Michael Barrett. The problem is he has no money to give her. He lives in Oregon right now in a modular home and, to the best of my knowledge, is not working.
So he'll satisfy that judgment in about 3,000 years.
Exactly. I mean, I hope he has longevity. And then 49% is at the fault of the Marriott franchisee owner, and that's $26 million. Now, instead of going through a lengthy appeal process, my sources told me they're going to settle on $6 million. But
whatever. Yeah,
$6 million, I mean, millions of dollars, because you have to wonder, I mean, is she deserving of any millions? Because the defense said, are banks responsible for bank robbers? Why should a hotel chain be blamed for her stalker?
Well, the negligence on behalf of the staff at the hotel was locating this individual next to her, in the room next to her, this individual who had asked, in which room is she staying?
Right.
Okay, put me next to her.
The 19-year-old clerk is like, she's in room 307.
Yeah, I mean, that should, there's a little bit of a failure of common sense there. I don't think there's no indication that it was malicious on behalf of the staff, but it is negligent, so I can see some exposure for the hotel, as obviously the stalker. $55 million worth of culpability. That seems to me one of these cases where we raise the specter of tort reform.
312-642-5600. Was it too much money? Was it not enough? Because she said her career wasn't ruined, Dan, but her life has been ruined.
My naked body was on the front page of the New York Post, like they had put bars over my body parts. My girlfriend was calling me, telling me she was running around New York City throwing coffee on all the papers because she felt so bad.
And that's all they could do at the time to fight back.
Did she get all the papers?
No, she didn't, Dan. But Erin Andrews continued.
I think the thing that's really hit home for me and hurts me the worst is when girls, high school, college, they tweet me and they say, I want to be Erin Andrews except for the Marriott stalker thing. And I can't control that.
I'm trying to. Just as somebody who was also secretly videotaped, at certain times when she would be on the stand and I listened to the majority of her testimony, I feel her pain. But also, too, God, her career has skyrocketed because of this. I mean, she's a host now on Dancing with the Stars, which is a pretty popular TV show, Dan. I mean, she got on Dancing with the Stars because of this, and the producers and everyone loved her so much that they got rid of Brooke and put her in as a host.
The argument that was made by Marriott attorneys was that since this incident, here are the endorsement deals she has gotten since, all the money she's made since, the contract she has made as a broadcaster, has she assigned as a broadcaster since the incident. So clearly trying to mitigate any economic damage you could quantify in terms of harm that she suffered. So this is all emotional, and then there's a punitive component if a jury wants to find that there was, which of course they did. Now, I mean, just to put this in context, she got $55 million, or a verdict for $55 million. She won't see that amount of money, of course. Now, Lovie Smith got $22 million for 6 years.
Was it 21 or 22?
$21 million for 6 years to turn around the Illini football team. I mean, I think Lovie should get at least as much as Erin Andrews. I mean, I know it's a bit of apples and oranges, but I mean, if we're trying to kind of to quantify things that are to some extent unquantifiable,
It's an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what I would do with $1 million, let alone $6 million.
You
let
don't-
alone
you don't-
$55
You don't know
million.
what you do with it? By the time
No.
Peyton and Eli get to college, it's going to cost, between the two of them, $1 million in tuition. So, yeah, I think there's plenty of things to do with it. But I think this is one of those arguments for tort reform where you suggest maybe we need to cap non-economic damages to some proportion or some ratio of economic damages so we don't just have people in a jury kind of willy-nilly spending other people's money because they look and say, oh, there's somebody with deep pockets and here's somebody who was treated poorly, and so we're just going to,
Fleece them,
flush
yeah.
it all out.
Well, Aaron, I wanted to play for these too. What life is now like for Aaron Andrews.
It upsets me. It's so embarrassing. It was my private time. I never thought this would happen. I never thought a hotel would let somebody next to me without telling me.
And now every time she is, assigned to a hotel room, obviously she uses a different name, wears a hat and sunglasses. And listen, she covers the peephole and she covers a keyhole, and then she searches through the rooms to make sure there's not a secret recording device.
Yeah, well I never thought a hotel would let someone in a room next to me without telling me. So you can't stay in a room next. Nobody can stay in a room next to Aaron Andrews. So does the whole floor have to be cordoned off now?
Well,
what
I
about
mean,
the whole hotel? Is
if
she as
you owned
is
a
she
hotel and she showed up? Wouldn't you give her a space?
Is she a Saudi
your own?
prince? Yeah, I would give her whatever space she paid for. That's the space I would give her.
Well, now she could afford the presidential suite.
So
with this kind of cash.
So I mean, has she done like photo spreads in magazines where she's like in a bathing suit or other provocative clothing?
Yeah, since then she was. Well, she's in provocative clothing on Dancing with the Stars. Yes, because that's what that show is about.
So she's not. So,
and she did a Victoria's Secret shoot.
Victoria's Secret. So she's not so distraught. I mean, look, obviously she was stalked and she was victimized. The individual who was responsible spent 2.5 years in jail. Got that. The Marriott, the teenage Marriott clerk shouldn't have given her name and her room number and then situated a guy who wanted to stay next to her in the room next to her. That should not have happened either. But this to me is listening to her, it's a little overwrought. Just a little overwrought, as is this jury verdict, in my opinion.
The damages should have been to pay for her court attorney and to pay for her lifelong cost of counseling and counseling for her mom and counseling for her dad.
Are you kidding me?
Dan, she's distraught. You can
Yeah,
hear it in her voice.
I'll
And
tell you
I
what,
mean, what would help her is taking ownership of this. She should be an advocate then for violation of privacy on a state and federal level, and that should be her calling.
Oh, my gosh. Right, because that's what we need. There's so many people saying no privacy. It's okay to look in through somebody's keyhole. It's okay to film them naked without their knowledge. There's a big lobby for that. Advocacy. This guy was a creep who stalked her. He paid a price. The hotel didn't have trained staff. They're paying a price. This becomes a national cause celeb. Noblesse oblige. Now all of us deep thinkers need to make a national advocacy campaign of this incident.
Well, what about
oh my gosh!
As Americans, our
Give me a
collective right
break.
to privacy. I mean, she
What
could talk
about
about
it?
that. Well, now that we
all
have the invention
agree.
of drones, there's blurry lines, Dan, in between what is private and what is public. There are blurry lines ever since the invention.
Excuse me.
No, excuse me. Ever since the invention of drones, there has been a blurred line of right to privacy because some
Really?
people now. Oh yeah.
Yeah, really?
But flying drones over backyards, that wasn't the case 10 years ago. We didn't have all these drones.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Can you point to someone who is suggesting that it is okay to illegally videotape someone in their hotel room? Who's the advocate for that? Because we need a national conversation, according to you.
I'm saying Aaron Andrews can now own what happened to her and be the voice for the violation of privacy. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if she wants to do something, I don't know.
This is comedy. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I think that going back to your question about Lovie Smith, Erin Andrews, people generally feel sorry for her because she was taken advantage of illegally, and Lovie Smith, he's going to get pilloried for the next 6 years by the press, so it's coming for him.
Oh, well, they'll be easy on him for the first year.
He's got to coach the Illini. You don't think that's punishment?
Oh, well, yeah, and his rotating cast of cares. But let's get to the point. The creep who did this, he tried to sell this material to TMZ. what warms my heart is finding out that TMZ has standards. They rejected that video, and I think if you look in the courts right now, going through the courts also is a similar case with Hulk Hogan, right? And Hulk Hogan is suing Gawker for some very high sum of money. Yeah, a lot of money. And yeah, I think TMZ was in the middle of there too, because TMZ may have aired some stills, I think, from the Hulk Hogan video that Gawker got their hands on. So I'm guessing, look at TMZ, they turned down the illegal thing from this creep. But I don't know how they justify airing those same sort of images from that Gawker obtained.
Yeah.
I can't reconcile that.
TMZ let Aaron Andrews know about the tape, and then it got on the internet.
Yeah. You know what?
300 million hits later.
I think TMZ should be the national spokes organization for a conversation about privacy. Lance in LaGrange. Hey, Lance.
Hello?
Yep, you're on.
I think this whole verdict is, and Aaron Andrews is doing a disservice to victims of this crime. Because, I'm sorry, but her crying on the stand, it seemed more fake than it was real.
Thanks for the call, Lance. John in Waukegan.
Just because somebody wins an award doesn't mean that they're going to get it.
Yeah.
The second part of this is trying to collect it. This can be appealed, in infinity, and sometimes people wind up settling for a fraction of it.
Right.
Yeah,
well, that's likely
why
to
we're
happen
hearing
here.
$6 million here, because Marriott doesn't want the publicity anymore, and she's got to get back to sideline reporting.
Thanks for the call, John. Thanks for the call. Scott on the west side.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Dan. What they should do is put the judgment on hold for 10 years, and whatever financial gain she has because of her career advancement should be deducted from the judgment. People that seek publicity, like taking a polar plunge, and then they don't do it, should not benefit from the publicity of it all.
What are you talking about? I went in the water. I took the polar plunge.
Oh, you get guilty conscience? He didn't say you.
I went on the polar plunge. I have video of it. I was going to post it today. I have other pressing issues.
Who are you arguing with?
Scott. He said the people are publicizing polar plunge and they don't go in.
Are you one of those people?
No, he's claiming that I am because I haven't posted that I went in the water on Sunday and I went in the polar plunge.
All I know is I want this Barrett guy to illegally videotape me in my home.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So hot. You might want to take a jump in the lake today. 68 degrees for our high. And tonight, on and off rain showers. And then tomorrow, mainly cloudy, spotty showers at time. We could hit a record high of 70 degrees. Jim Talamonte, where are the cars?
Well, if you're cruising along the lakefront, Amy, you'll see a little bit of heavy traffic on the southbound side, the outer drive. It's heavy approaching Fullerton, and then it's stop and go from 18th to the Stevenson. Edens is 27 minutes, Lykehook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy, now 47 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38. The Eisenhower, an hour, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 37 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State, stop and go 120 to 176. There's a northbound crash. Delays are from Bradley to 176. There's a rollover blocking the left lane. Farther south, it's slow 95th to Ogden. Eastbound Adams Tollway, really messy from Bartlett Road to 53. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
It's so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
Imagine working with a realtor who has many times the number of buyers lined up, sells an average of 300 homes a year. You can just call Saul Z and the Z team. Guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to. 29 days pass without a sale. Saul will help you buy it or help you. Well, Saul will buy it or help you rent it, and you won't be obligated. If you aren't happy, Saul lets you out of the contract. Saul is so confident in selling your home because he has the most advanced marketing system for a faster sale at a great price. For example, after unsuccessfully listing his 2-unit building in Jefferson Park with another agent and watching it sit unsold, Bruce heard about Saul Z and the Z team on Sean Hannity. Saul showed Bruce his marketing plan, and Bruce listed with Saul for $495,000. Saul brought Bruce 2 offers in the first 5 days and sold it for $490,000. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul number 106 of more than 1.2 million agents because his team sells many more homes than the national average. That's why I'll be calling Saul Z when I'm ready to sell or buy a new home. So go to callsaul.net, that's callsaul, SAUL.net, to find out what your home's worth, or call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666, and start packing.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by Citizens for Michelle Moore.
AM 560, The Answer.
We got to read this text message. I'm sure glad nobody has videotaped me naked in my hotel room like Aaron Andrews. I couldn't afford to pay them $55 million for pain and suffering. Of course, that came from the Amish texter.
Yeah, so the question, does Aaron Andrews deserve generational wealth for what happened to her? Because that's what the verdict is, generational wealth for what happened. Mike in Kansas City, Missouri.
Hey, good morning. You know, this Aaron Andrews thing, if we look at it properly, it's easy to figure out, okay? We are living in 18th century France right now. The politicians are the new nobility. The celebrities and media stars is the clergy, and then everyone else.
So the French we're on the cusp of a French Revolution, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And you don't, anyone who offends a member of the clergy, they have to pay for it. And we just got to sit back and take it. I mean, this would never happen to some, middle-class schlum living in, Iowa somewhere.
That's true. There's a little star power involved because after the verdict was read, the judge ordered the cameras to be shut off, and then she went into the jury box and hugged and met each juror.
Yeah, that's the least they deserved. Mo in Lyons. Hey, Mo.
What do you know, Mo?
Aaron Andrews will never be more than a Howard Sudbury wannabe. When she went on Dance with the Stars, that show, it just screams, look at me, look at me, look at me. The way they dress, the whole show.
If you're hot, you're not on the show.
And that's what they did was look at her. So the jury, which I think came from the OJ trial, they should have given her $20 cab fare. Goodbye, loser.
Thanks for the call, Mo. We look forward to seeing Aaron Andrews out at the track.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and often people tell me that they have been hearing our advertisements for years. What are you waiting for? Start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life.
I actually believe that it is working because I went to have my
thyroid TSH level checked, and my T3 and 4. And in October, originally, it was at 3. My TSH was at 3.28, and Monday's test came out to 0.63. I do believe that it has something to do with it.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What happens in Mississippi tonight? We'll talk to Paul Hampton, political editor for the Sun-Herald in Biloxi at 7:37.
And while he was in Mississippi, Donald Trump returning to ripping on Rubio. You'll hear it. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Clouds, 58 degrees. Voters in 4 states already heading to the polls, casting ballots in a presidential race. Later, they'll caucus in Hawaii. Senator Bernie Sanders was among the candidates campaigning around Detroit yesterday, saying to a crowd, voters won't be fooled by any Republican rhetoric.
The Donald Trumps and his friends are not going to prevail in scapegoating minorities in this country.
Sanders later, along with fellow Democrat Hillary Clinton, took part in a Fox News town hall event in downtown Detroit. The Somali official said moments ago the country's intelligence service has cooperated with the U.S. in airstrikes that have killed 150 al-Shabaab militants. The intelligence official says airstrikes targeted a forested military training camp run by the Islamic terrorists about 100 miles north of the capital of Mogadishu. Over a dozen are hurt, some seriously, after a commuter train derailed near San Francisco. Alameda County Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly.
I've heard word of possibly a tree that fell along the tracks and may have caused the derailment. So we'll be looking at all that.
Cars left the rails and ended up on their sides, partially submerged in a fast-moving creek. Volkswagen's emissions rigging scandal continues to reverberate in Germany. Prosecutors say now they have 17 under investigation. A news conference is planned today after first-degree murder charges were filed against a Chicago man in the death of a 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee. Lee, according to police, was lured from a playground and shot in the head by 22-year-old Dwight Doty. Former President Bill Clinton in town this morning campaigning for his wife in Evanston before the state's primary. And a jury is awarding television sports reporter Erin Andrews $55 million in her lawsuit over secretly recorded nude video taken in her Tennessee hotel room. Attorneys for the hotel argued that the former Chicago area insurance executive, Michael Barrett, convicted of stalking Andrews, was solely to blame for the video. Chicago sports, NBA, was the Bulls over Milwaukee 100-90. MAC tournament basketball, our Northern Illinois Huskies over Western Michigan 56-50. The news service of Business Outfitters by Land's End. Well, there's an old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. It's true. Land's End makes it easier than ever to look your best and outfit your entire team, so you'll always make a great impression. Business Outfitters by Land's End. They supply confidence. Shop now at business.landsend.com. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes there's only one difference between Sanders and Clinton.
Bernie Sanders wants the state to be even bigger than Hillary Clinton does. Not much. Truth be told, there's no difference between them. There really isn't, except he happens to be personally honest and she's a crook. That is the only difference. He is an honest socialist, she's a dishonest socialist.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Remodel your kitchen or bath with Galaxy and get free installation, free design, and free financing. Call Galaxy at 773-783-8300 or schedule online at galaxyhome.com.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship.
powered by Tandem HR. So mom and dad, imagine that after saving for years to send your child to college, you discover that you did not save enough. Or perhaps you find out that your student did not make the best career decision before choosing their college or major. That's expensive in a couple of ways. Number one, as you might imagine, your student will need to take extra courses. Cha-ching! Or switch to a different college. Cha-ching, cha-ching! And two, for the student, it's emotionally expensive to not know what you plan to do with your life and why you're away at college in the first place. For the best outcome, Everett Wealth Solutions recommends getting advice from a fiduciary advisor with college funding knowledge. A fiduciary represents you, not a financial institution. They will get to know you and the complete financial picture of your life. For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Listen to Donald Trump.
I love the poorly educated.
That's really what Donald Trump is all about. He thinks we're fools. When his Atlantic City casinos went bankrupt, Trump used sleazy bankruptcy laws to avoid paying workers.
I love the poorly educated.
He banned disabled veterans from his high-rise, calling them a detriment to the city.
I love the poorly educated.
He even tried to use eminent domain to kick a widow from her home. Why? Because Trump wanted to demolish her home and turn it into a limousine parking lot for his Trump casino. Donald Trump puts himself first and us last. Defeat Donald Trump.
I love the poorly educated.
Conservative Solutions PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.conservativesolutionspAC.com.
7:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the northbound tri-state, traffic is stop and go. Harlem to Ogden, from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue, and then from Bradley to 176 with a crash in the left lane. Southbound, it's a big gapers delay from 132 to 176. Northbound Baton Rouge Royal now heavy from the Boughton Toll Plaza to the Reagan Tollway. The Eden's inbound 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy now an hour and 5 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38 minutes. The Eisenhower an hour and 9 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 40 minutes. Stevenson an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of Fix Auto Collision Centers. Crashed your car? You have a friend in the business with Fix Auto Collision Centers, with locations throughout Chicago. Call Fix Auto Collision Centers today at 1-800-INFO-FIX. 1-800-INFO-FIX. That's 1-800-INFO-FIX. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, windy, and warm today. High 68. Mild with on and off rain and drizzle overnight, low 57. We have 58 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Artistic Dentistry, providing excellence in the art of science and dentistry. Visit donewithdentures.com.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so today 4 states go to the polls, or in the case of Hawaii, a caucus site. You've got Michigan, you got Idaho, and you have Mississippi in addition to Hawaii. And in all of those states, with the exception of Hawaii, so the other 3 states, Trump comes into today with a double-digit lead. And according to the most recent survey of Mississippi that's posted on RealClearPolitics.com, this is about a week old, Trump comes in with the biggest lead of any of the states, enjoying the biggest lead of any other state. Trump plus 24, with Cruz and Rubio battling it out for second in Mississippi. But last night, Governor Phil Bryant, the Republican governor of Mississippi, endorsed Ted Cruz. We know that these races can tighten up over the course of a week. Even on Election Day, we saw this happen in Louisiana between Trump and Cruz on Saturday. Could the same thing be afoot in Mississippi? We put that question to our next guest. He is Paul Hampton, political editor for the Sun Herald in Biloxi. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So give us your sense of the state of play in Mississippi. Is this going to be a runaway for Trump, or do you feel like Cruz and maybe even Rubio are closing?
I believe Cruz might be picking up a little. He was in the state, a real popular state senator from down here. Like I said, the latest polls showed Trump way ahead. The question, I guess, a couple of days ago would be, would Trump get 50% in all the congressional districts and take all the delegates? Now it looks like maybe somebody might be able to shave off a few, but I suspect Trump will win pretty big.
How many
That's
delegates?
just my gut feel.
Sorry, Paul. How many delegates are in play in Mississippi?
Oh, God, I can't think of it right now. It's not a lot. In the scheme of things, we're a small state, 3 million people, so take it from there.
What impact and what do you think was the rationale for Governor Bryan endorsing Cruz yesterday?
Well, the rationale has always been that we have to, he's tearing the Republican Party apart. We have to stop it. That's was rationale for voting with Rubio. And every candidate is, I'm the guy who can stop Trump. Even John Kasich has been in Mississippi, and he's got a bunch of mainstream Republicans backing him in the state, old and new. So, but Donald Trump had a rally in Madison, and they said the crowd was just enormous. So Madison's kind of like a Jackson suburb, basically, predominantly white and very affluent parts of it. So, that to me would be the last place I think, Donald Trump would have a big crowd, but he had a big crowd down here on January 2nd. It was the most amazing political thing I've ever seen.
Really? So I know thousands of people are showing up for his events, but how can you guarantee them, or how can he guarantee that they're going to go to the polls today?
Yeah, that's always the question. It's always, they think it's a lot of first-time voters and people who've been disengaged. And, it's a question whether he has any kind of ground game at all. I mean, he's got some supporters down here that know how to do that. But whether they can, this question will be answered about 7:00 tonight, I imagine.
Well, when you look at the final four, which candidate has had the most, publicity, or who has been on, has the best ground game there in Mississippi?
I'd say Trump and Cruz, and to some extent Kasich.
Trying to get a sense of, kind of what's happening state by state. It was always interesting. So you had, before Bryant, you had a popular governor, Haley Barbour, who was, spent his time in D.C., a bit of a creature of the quote-unquote establishment, I think some could argue. Would a Haley Barbour have a difficult time getting elected in Mississippi in this climate today? Have you seen a noticeable shift from even 2 years ago to this cycle?
Well, a couple of years ago we had a very bad senator, not bad, but very, very, competitive, and the campaign got nasty, and a lot of bad stuff happened.
McDaniel versus Cochran.
Mm-hmm. And Haley Barbour was kind of in the middle of that, and that was McDaniel was kind of running against the Barbers. He said, he always he played that anti-establishment as well as anyone's ever played it, and just barely lost a fellow who's been senator here for a long time and brought all sorts of money to South Mississippi, and he almost beat him. It was just unbelievable. That message resonated, and I think Trump has tapped into that, and Cruz tries to, but I don't know if he can take a lot of those people away from Trump. They're just really fervent supporters.
Would you ever imagine in your lifetime that a Yankee billionaire would be doing well and playing well in Mississippi?
Yeah. I grew up in Southern Illinois, and I came here 26 years ago. I think I'm just now with a damn Yankee label in some places.
Really?
But no, and when I was thinking, it even surprised Donald Trump that he's doing this well, I believe. I think he, expected to get in and maybe make his mark and, have a good showing. And then he had a few events where, these giant crowds showed up, and he thought, well, I have a chance, and started taking it seriously.
What about, just as you're covering both sides, of course, I know Hillary's got a big lead down there, and I know Mississippi will be a red state in the general election, but just in terms of kind of tapping into the Trump phenomenon, do you hear from a lot of Democrats that are taking a look at Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton, this time around, and maybe have not voted Republican before?
The ones I know well that I don't think were just teasing me. I think there's a few that might vote for Trump as sort of a anti-Cruz vote, they're saying. But in Mississippi, the Democratic Party is largely black, and I don't think a lot of black people are falling into the Trump camp.
Now
they love Hillary. There's a popular black congressman supporting her, and it's just a Democratic socialist is a tough sell in Mississippi. Bernie was going to come down here years ago, and the Republican Party was all over that. The fact that he calls himself a socialist.
Mm-hmm. On the Democratic side, there's 41 delegates at play, and has Bernie Sanders been down there many times, if at all?
He hasn't been down there at all this year. And last year that I know of. He hasn't been down to South Mississippi, certainly. And, he has a little support down here because they had a bonfire on the beach for Bernie, Saturday night, and they've had some phone banks, but they're very small events. And there's some very liberal people in this part of the state, but they're just a minority. They're true believers, and they're good people, and they get out and vote, and they know they're swimming against the tide, and they're not giving up.
All right, he is Paul Hampton, political editor for the Sun-Herald in Biloxi, Mississippi, by way of Southern Illinois. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure.
Hey, and last night though in Mississippi, Donald Trump went back to ripping on Rubio, and real quickly, I want to get your opinion. What is he thinking?
And then we have little Marco Rubio. I thought when we had, Chris Christie endorsed me. Good guy, really good guy. He endorsed me 2 weeks ago. And when Chris was on the stage, Chris was he's the governor of New Jersey, but he was a former prosecutor and a tough cookie. And I thought, honestly, Marco was going to faint. He was choking like a dog. He was pouring down sweat. And Chris hit him once, and it was fine. He said the Obama thing. Remember the phrase. And then he did it again, and he said it again and again and again and again. And after the fifth time, I was getting ready to see that size of that hand. Look at that. I was going to grab him to show him how strong that hand is, because he made that sucker up. I was going to say, Marco, I won't let you fall. I don't want you to get hurt, Marco.
Okay. Well, I don't know. What was that?
Just back to the hands. Back to the hands.
Yeah. He's focused on Marco because he's looking past today towards next week in Florida. There's a poll out yesterday from Monmouth that has the race tightening to 8 points, and so he's focused on pushing Rubio out in Florida, and maybe to a lesser extent than turning his sights on Kasich for Ohio later this week. But he's up with an ad that hits Rubio in Florida, and he's trying to stretch it out and hold on, because it does seem to me, not just based on the numbers, but just kind of the vibe of the race, it does seem to me that Trump is coming back to the pack, or at least coming back to Ted Cruz, and in Florida to Marco Rubio.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Your phone calls next, 312-642-5600. When you go outside, you're going to feel it, the warm weather. It's 60 degrees right now, going up to a high of 68 degrees. Our average high this time of year is 43 degrees, so we're going to blow past that. And tomorrow, even warmer, a high near 70 with a chance of spotty showers. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The southbound tri-state has heavy delays from 132 to 176 due to an earlier northbound crash. The northbound delays are from Harlem to Ogden and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Bartlett Road to 53. Reagan Tollway heavy Farnsworth to Viola. Veterans Memorial slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail toll to 290. Eden's 27 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23 to Kennedy. An hour and 5 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Heavier in the express with a crash before Ohio in the right express lane. Outbound, it's 42 minutes to O'Hare. The Eisenhower, an hour and 9 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 40 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 28 minutes. 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Spring is in the air, and along with the warmer temperatures comes time for some spring cleaning. And if your home is like mine, you've had a lot of foot traffic over the winter season, which brought in water, mud, and those nasty salt stains. Now, the residue of winter sticks around in your carpet, area rugs, and your tile and grout. That's why I recommend you spring clean with Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. When Executive Green cleaned my home, they used their own purified water with a natural solution that left no chalky or sticky residue. And it's a much safer alternative for my boys and, of course, my precious pets. So get ready for spring with Executive Green. $139 special, which includes 3 carpeted rooms and their 100% no-risk guarantee. If you are not satisfied, your service is free. Like them on Facebook to see all the amazing before and after photos, and call this number to set up an appointment, 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151, or visit executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. That's executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you had questions about purchasing a home, you called me and I helped you. When you and your parents had questions about reverse mortgages, you called me and I helped you. When you needed help refinancing to lower your mortgage payments so you could afford the home after your spouse passed away, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me, David at pearldavid.com. That's David at PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com licensing.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Trump, it's tightening up in Ohio, Florida, basically a dead heat in Ohio, tightening up in Florida. But if Trump runs Mississippi, Michigan, and Idaho today, that's a lot more momentum kind of reignited for him going into Mini Super Tuesday next week. We shall see. Joe and Waukegan, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that there's a lot of hanky-panky going on and a lot of voter fraud. We already know that Ted Cruz has been involved in voter fraud, and we know the RNC, what they're capable of doing. And I'll tell you why we know this. Trump gets about 25,000 people at his events. Cruz can only fill a little back room on a Lincoln Avenue pub, and Rubio can only fill a Starbucks. So you're going to tell me on Election Day it's going to tighten up that much? That's telling me there's a lot of voter fraud going on. And you should know that, Dan, because you're here from Illinois. You should know what's going on. And what they're trying to do is make it really tight. They're going to cheat as much as they can because they want to have a broker convention. But I'll tell you this, Trump is going to win because he's the deal maker. Yeah. He's the king maker. And Cruz is a loser.
Okay,
Thanks for
yeah,
the call,
right. Well,
Joe.
first of all, Ted Cruz gets thousands of people at his events, and he's having one Friday night, which, Dan, you're going to MC, and already more than 1,000 people have signed up. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a max.
And the
event.
delegate count, what, 384 delegates to Cruz's 300 delegates?
Right.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think when he won Kansas by 25 points on Saturday, I don't think
Yeah.
that was voter fraud. But, you know,
I don't either.
Sean from Elmwood Park.
And I'm going to be there as well. We will not hail Caesar of the welfare patriot. See, Mississippi, 22% of the people are on food stamps, and more people are on welfare than have jobs. And he seems to be a king of the Make America Great. Well, you could all hold hands and jump in the Grand Canyon. That'll make America great. But maybe people are starting to learn of the real Donald Trump, the bone-spurred deferments from Vietnam, the 169 lawsuits, the Trump University scam. And now we find out he took $150,000 from the September 11th fund of businesses affected by the attacks because he had a building a mile away. So as people learn that his rhetoric is as phony as a Melania orgasm, we can maybe get to some thinking here.
Oh, wow. Thanks for the call,
Listen,
Sean.
people don't fake that.
I'm waiting for Sean to be featured in a Super PAC ad.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
One argument people make for green energy is that sources like wind and solar are free and forever. But the reality is utilizing sunlight and wind isn't free or automatic. It's not like you can put your iPhone out in the sun and expect it to charge. Using any natural resource requires expensive technology, machinery, and infrastructure. Like any other piece of technology, a windmill or solar panel requires ongoing cleaning, maintenance, and servicing. Sunlight and wind are, in fact, far more expensive to exploit than fossil fuels, which is why they've never achieved significant market penetration. Expensive and temporary doesn't quite have the marketing ring of free and forever, but it's a much more accurate description of green energy. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Gentlemen, Dan Proft here. You may have seen the news story on NBC Nightly News recently about new medical research on the benefits of testosterone treatment. Low T Center and their national medical director was featured. You've been hearing me talk about the Low T Center a lot lately because when it comes to your health, you should go to a medical provider that you can trust and that specializes in testosterone. That's why I went to Low T Center and met with their medical staff. Their physicians exclusively diagnose and treat men with low T. If you're a man over 40 and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. At Low T Center, their service is covered by most health insurance, and you'll know your results within 45 minutes. So call today, 630-409-4305. That number, 630-409-4305, or go to lowtcenter.com and tell them Dan Proft sent you.
Fact, approximately 60% of all residential properties in Cook County are overassessed and paying way too much in property taxes. Here's the good news. If you live anywhere in Cook County, Chicago, or the burbs, now there's a way to find out in 60 seconds or less if you're one of the 60% that's overpaying. IAppealPropertyTax.com will give you your estimated savings without cost or obligation. If you decide to appeal your taxes, IAppealPropertyTax.com handles the entire process for a modest flat fee depending on your actual tax savings. IAppealPropertyTax.com has an 85% success rate once the appeal is filed. And if your appeal isn't successful, it costs you $0. So if you're a Cook County property owner and even suspect your taxes are too high, visit IAppealPropertyTax.com. That's IAppealPropertyTax.com. Do it now. You've got nothing to lose and potentially a lot to save. IAppealPropertyTax.com.
Starting Starting March 10th, Court Theater in Hyde Park presents Eugene O'Neill's Tony Award-winning drama, Long Day's Journey into Night. The play stars film, TV, and stage performer Harris Yulin and features one of Chicago's finest actresses, Mary Beth Fisher. This powerful and classic tale of a family struggling to heal themselves and forgive each other is a must-see theatrical event. Reserve your seat by calling 773-753-4472 or visit courttheater.org. That's courttheater.org.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, voting already underway in Michigan and Mississippi. Can Donald Trump pull away from the pack, and will Hillary bury Bernie once and for all? But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a man is suing the Archdiocese of Chicago, claiming discrimination. We'll tell you why. Protests are expected during Donald Trump's upcoming visit to Chicago as former President Bill Clinton campaigns in the state of Illinois today for his wife. President Obama makes an endorsement in a state representative case. Lovie Smith takes over as coach at the University of Illinois, and the Bulls were way too much for the Bucks yesterday. Ahead of us, a cloudy, windy, and warm day. A high near 68, and rain and drizzle kick in overnight. Complete look at your weather forecast after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He's won 12 states, and Donald Trump's hoping to get 4 more today.
I've had so many rallies in Michigan. They've been unbelievable rallies, and thousands, tens of thousands of people.
Michigan's the biggest prize, and polls have shown John Kasich surging there.
We have a good grassroots organization, a good message, and people are, I think, are beginning to listen.
Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Detroit.
Dave, they're not do-or-die contests, but today's caucus in Hawaii and primaries in Mississippi, Idaho, and here in Michigan have 150 delegates to offer Republican candidates, with Donald Trump leading the pack in the polls, and with Trump supporters here in Detroit digging in.
We're all tired of career politicians. We're tired of our country not being ours anymore. Trump's saying it like it is.
He's not afraid anybody doesn't need anybody's money. He's got enough money. They're not going to buy him. I think that he's the guy.
The latest polls show John Kasich and Ted Cruz tied for second, with Marco Rubio trailing, and with turnout expected to be high here today, Dave, amid temps in the mid-60s.
Jeff, Democrats are also voting in Michigan and Mississippi.
When I'm not running for something, the Republicans say really nice things about me.
Hillary Clinton shrugging off questions at a Fox News town hall forum about her private emailing as Secretary of State that it was a mistake, but nothing was classified at the time. Bernie Sanders kept hitting Clinton over her Wall Street donors.
I've got 5 million individual contributions averaging $27 apiece.
A disaster in the dark and stormy California. A downed tree knocked a commuter train off the tracks outside San Francisco. The first car flipped into a creek.
Somebody was watching over us tonight. Everybody got out.
In all, only 9 passengers suffered injuries, but 4 were serious. The future of towns of Colorado City, Arizona, and Hilldale, Utah, now in the hands of a judge, after a jury decided yesterday that the polygamous towns discriminated against non-believers by denying them basic services like police protection and water hookups. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Clouds and sun, 58 degrees. It is 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. A Gary, Indiana man who police say confessed to killing 7 women is now charged with murder in each of those cases. Lake County, Indiana prosecutors are charging Darren Van in the slayings of the 7 women. He already faces murder charges in the strangulation deaths of Africa Hardy and Anneth Jones. A news conference is scheduled for later today after first-degree murder charges were filed in Chicago against a man tied to the death of a 9-year-old who police say was lured from a playground, then shot in the head because of his father's gang ties. Chicago police say 22-year-old Dwight Doty was charged Monday night in the November death of Tyshawn Lee. Donald Trump's visit to Chicago could be contentious and bring out the protesters, as AM 560's David Stewart reports.
Congressman Luis Gutierrez stood with aldermen and others to call for a large crowd to show up Friday outside the UIC pavilion.
We will not allow Donald Trump to come to Chicago without raising our voices to denounce his bigotry, his hatred, and his prejudice.
UIC students and faculty are also trying to block Trump's appearance. A student leader gathered 40,000 signatures on a petition asking administrators to cancel the rally because it could turn violent. David Stewart, Chicago.
Bill Clinton in Illinois this morning, campaigning in Evanston for his wife a week before the state's primary. The rally begins around 10:30. Chicago sports, Bulls beat Milwaukee 100-90. MAC tournament basketball, our Northern Illinois Huskies top Western Michigan 56-50. The news, a service of Jewel Osco. This week, Jewel has 1-pound packages of strawberries for just 99 cents each. Fresh, boneless, skinless chicken breasts or thighs, value packs for $1.77 a pound. And a gallon of 1%, 2% skim or whole Lucerne milk is just $1.99, limit 2. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, could American Express become part of Wells Fargo? Sources at Amex tell the Fox Business Network the company may be for sale. Wells Fargo has expressed interest in having a major credit card brand. American Express lost its Costco contract and JetBlue. Despite all the optimism about the economy picking up and talk of the Federal Reserve being ready to eventually raise interest rates, small business owners are not sounding very optimistic. The National Federation of Independent Business says its monthly index slipped to the lowest level in a couple of years. Urban Outfitters had a better than expected quarter. Though sales did not improve, the company is making more money. And Shake Shack, the burger chain that started as a hot dog cart in New York's Madison Square Park 15 years ago, is working on expanding to 450 locations by the end of September. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:05 in Chicago.
Sean Hannity. Warning to whoever wins the GOP nomination.
Whoever wins this is what they are going to do. This is how they play this game. This is not beanball for Democrats. Hillary Clinton wants Air Force One. She wants to be called Madam President. There's nothing that she won't say or do.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Man alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-715-3081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-715-3081. That's 800-715-3081. Again, 800-715-3081.
It's 8:06. Let's get an update in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. The latest on the roads with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, a crash before Ohio has cleared, but it is an hour and 20 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 45 minutes from Montrose, 35 on the Express, outbound 40 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens, 23 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Eisenhower, an hour and 17 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive southbound stop and go Lawrence to Fullerton and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound still jammed 132 to 176 after an earlier crash. Northbound Southwest Highway to past the Hinsdale Oasis with a couple of traffic stops. Then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. The latest with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy, windy, and warm. High 66. Mild with on and off rain and drizzle tonight. Low 57. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers. High 64. Rain at times tomorrow night with a low of 46. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
60 at O'Hare, 59 along the lakefront. It is 58 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by attorney John DeWatt, using the power of bankruptcy law to rein in the IRS. ThinkingOutsideTheBoxLaw.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football.
I would love to take on Ted one-on-one. That would be so much fun.
You know, I think Donald suffered some real damage over the last week. People are starting to learn that Donald Trump, the character, and Donald Trump, the person, are not the same thing.
The State Department decides what is, and let me go a step further here. I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified.
If there is a large voter turnout, we will win.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Nancy Reagan will be laid to rest this Friday at the Reagan Library.
Right next to her husband?
Yep.
Obviously.
They're already enjoying their eternity together, I have no doubt. And the tributes are coming in, and some maybe from some sort of unusual sources, but not if you lived through the 80s, as we both did. Children of the 80s.
That's what we are.
Oh, especially me.
Well, you're more so than me because you know all the 80s rock bands.
There's no question
I can
about
sing
that.
the songs, but you know their names and title.
Well, one of those who tweeted a tribute to Nancy Reagan, none other than Mr. T.
Mr. T? Clubber Lang?
Clubber Lang, right, yes, your Rocky references. Have you seen the Rocky movies?
Yes, I have.
Mhm.
Thank you. And I even saw Creed.
Did you see did you watch A-Team as a young woman?
I did a few times.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Mhm.
Mr. T, you'll remember.
remember Mr.
B.A. Baracus, Bad Attitude. George Peppard.
Oh, you know all the cast members?
I don't remember the name of the actor who played Face or Murdoch. I don't remember their actors' names, but I remember the character's name. Sure.
Do you want to travel back in time and hear Mr. T?
I do. What I'd like to do is travel back in time and just start all over. But I'll take hearing Mr. T. Yeah.
I get angry just thinking about it. Makes me mad. Little kids doing drugs, it turns my stomach. That stuff hurts. It stops you from living up to your potential. It holds you back. It hurts the user. It hurts his family. And it hurts his friends. I just want to shake some sense into you kids that are using drugs and thinking about using it. So remember, don't, or else. Okay?
Best.
I wonder how he went to the bathroom with all this stuff on.
Best public service announcement ever. Mr. T, as part of the Just Say No campaign in the 1980s. By the way, I have my Mr. T starter set, as you know.
Oh, that's right. You always wear it.
That's tribute to Mr. T.
How many chains do you have there?
I have not enough.
I wonder
Not
how he went
enough
to
to
the
be
bathroom with
Mr.
all
T.
this stuff on.
So Mr. T was invited to participate. Remember, he's a big actor, big star, and larger-than-life personality in the 80s with the show. And
when he spoke, people listened, because still, when we just played that again, I got scared all over again.
He was a modern-day E.F. Hutton, that Mr. T was. He tweeted, "I mourn the death of First Lady Nancy Reagan. It was very special to me. Not only did she invite me to the White House in December '83 after meeting with her and President Ronald Reagan, she then asked me to help with her Just Say No program, which I gladly accepted with humility and honor." Mr. T went on. Nancy Reagan never appeared in an episode. She would have been a great guest star. Mr. T went on to say, "That was the highlight of my career, to be asked to work with the First Family on such a great cause. It wasn't political because I'm not a Republican or Democrat, but I am just a Christian brother from the hood trying to do some good. I will miss First Lady Nancy Reagan. I will never forget her." Pretty nice tribute from an unexpected source, isn't it? Obviously, Nancy Reagan made quite an impression on Mr. T some 30 years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? She made an impression on me, the Just Say No to Drugs campaign, because, of course, we all offered to try various things, whether it be speed or marijuana or cigarettes. And the best thing was no, because Nancy Reagan told me to just say no. And that really just ended the conversation. Just say no. And then to have Mr. T on the team, too. Oh, yeah. It was effective.
Well, and the relationship between the two, compare that to, say, the relationship of the president that followed the president that followed Ronald Reagan. the husband-wife relationship between Reagan and Nancy, Ronnie and Nancy, versus
that was the most amazing love story of our time.
Maybe Hillary and Bill.
Yeah, that
it's different.
Yeah, a tad bit different.
Yeah. Here's this was in the Federalist.com. They pulled some excerpts from some of the love letters that Ronnie wrote Nancy.
Can we cue the sad music?
And no, it's not sad.
No, the sappy. I mean, this is we'll never see this again in our time.
And they were, they were put into a book. But here's an example. 1972, on their 20th wedding anniversary, Ronnie writes Nancy, "My darling wife, this note is to warn you of a diabolical plot entered into by some of our so-called friends, calendar markers, and even our own children. These and others would have you believe we've been married 20 years. 20 minutes maybe, but never 20 years. In the first place, it's a known fact that a human cannot sustain the high level of happiness I feel for more than a few minutes, and my happiness keeps on increasing. I will confess to one puzzlement, but I'm sure it was just some trick perpetrated by our friends. I can't remember ever being without you, and I know I was born more than 20 minutes ago. Oh, well, that isn't important. The important thing is I don't want to be without you for the next 20 years or 40 or however many there are. I've gotten used to being happy, and I love you very much indeed. Your husband of 20-something or other."
Oh, I mean, she really was defined by her devotion and love to her husband because she never wavered on it. And I love the soundbite that we played, file audio of her yesterday saying she went to some country and they put her and Ronnie in different rooms. And that was just unacceptable. And when you think about Bill and Hillary, they're never in the same room.
No,
they're never even in the same city. And if they are
No.
booked in the same hotel, I know for a fact that they do not stay in the same hotel room.
I wonder what the notes between Bill and Hillary.
Oh, love letters.
Are
How
like-
long would that book be? 2-3 pages, maybe?
How about this after a fight? The fact that he was writing letters too.
Well, that's
talk
what people
about a lost
did back
art.
then. I mean,
Back then, it wasn't that long ago.
well, we didn't have email. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers.
Right.
At least I didn't.
We just had literacy.
Yes.
This was after a fight. Just one more.
Oh, no, I love this. I could do this all day. I'm a girl. I'm a woman. Let's go.
Me too. After a fight, Ronnie wrote Nancy, "Thank you, quote unquote, someone." That was obviously an inside joke there, or inside Barb.
Uh-huh.
"Dear Mrs. Reagan," and you are Mrs. Reagan because Mr. Reagan loves you with all his heart.
This is great.
Every time Mr. Reagan sees the evening star or blows out the birthday candles or gets the big end of the wishbone, he thinks the same wish, a prayer really, that so much happiness will go on and somehow be deserved by him. It's true that sometimes Mr. Reagan loses his temper and slams a door, but that's because he can't cry or stamp his foot. He really isn't that type. But mad or glad, Mr. Reagan is head over heels in love with Mrs. Reagan, and he can't even imagine a world without her. He loves her.
That is my favorite letter ever, written in the third person, and that's effective. Like, honey, come back. Mr. Reagan doesn't know what he's doing.
I would suggest that
Every guy
the
should have
gentleman
that.
out there, this is the Federalist.com. I tweeted it out. Just keep this when you need it to cut and paste and just insert your last name into these notes.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Some high clouds, but warm weather. Wow, to start your day, a high of 68 degrees. Our average high this time of year is 43, so enjoy it. Tonight, a low of 57, so it's really going to stick around. And tomorrow, it's going to get even warmer. We're going to have spotty showers. That's the name of Dan's high school band, Spotty Showers. And temperatures near a record of 70 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Anything spectacular on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, it's pretty heavy on that inbound Kennedy. Right now, it's an hour and 20 minutes, Amy, from O'Hare to downtown. Well, as I say that, it just ticked down 10 minutes. So it's an hour 10, a mere hour 10 from O'Hare to downtown. Express lanes will save you about 8 or 9 minutes. Outbound 40 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens is 23 minutes either way between Lake Cook and the Junction. The Eisenhower, an hour and 17 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, an hour from Manheim. Outbound 45 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's clear. Ryan is 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, still really bottled up from 132 in Gurnee to 176. There was an earlier northbound crash. Northbound, it's slow. Southwest Highway to past the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. You remember when Mr. T mowed down all those trees in Lake Forest when he was living in Lake Forest?
Oh, yeah, loved it.
I loved that. had all the North Shoreans up in arms.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. If you're in business, you know the importance of communications, telephony, and internet services can mean success and profits. Chicago-based Innovative Networks is a complete provider of high-tech voice and data services that allow your phones and data to efficiently follow you anywhere, in the office or across the world. For companies of all sizes and industries, Innovative Networks provides state-of-the-art equipment, installation, and maintenance for a minimal monthly fee. Your company can enjoy the benefits of superior communications and greater profits. Innovative Networks is offering AM560 listeners with a business this special deal. Pay zero up front, plus up to 80% savings over major providers. For your free business communications consultation, call Innovative Networks, an accredited and award-winning Better Business Bureau service provider, at 855-GO4-INET or visit go4inet.com. That number, 855-GO4-INET. Innovative Networks, communication, technology, and reliability for Chicagoland businesses. 855-GO4-INET.
Lately, it seems you're not feeling quite right, as if your body is working against you. Dr. Amy and Associates can help create a path to achieve optimal health. Experience personalized health care for your mind, body, and spirit at a practice that blends holistic and traditional medicine.
Dr. Amy has really helped me. After experiencing a divorce in my 50s, I wasn't sure how to handle the stress and changes I was about to encounter. I needed to find a new profession since my ex-husband and I had worked together at our own company, plus there were other challenges with our own grown kids, family, and friends. It was wonderful to have Dr. Amy's guidance through this difficult situation. She kept me on track and assured me I was thinking correctly. She made a very hard time easier, and I will forever be grateful. If you're going through some hard life struggles, I would highly recommend Dr. Amy and Associates.
Call Dr. Amy and Associates to experience a whole-person integrative approach to health and wellness. 630-980-1400 or visit dramyandassociates.com. Dr. Amy and Associates, empowering people, changing lives. Winter weather is here, and this season's roller coaster ride and temperatures can be especially taxing on your business's mechanical HVAC system. That's why it's important to schedule a comprehensive review of your system today with Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has maintained hundreds of businesses' HVAC systems throughout Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Why do they trust their mechanical systems to Air Comfort? It's simple. Because they understand that Air Comfort has the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as an MSCA Star Contractor, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a large service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Stan and Amy, text from 708. Will Hillary bring that same Clinton team that trashed the Oval Office and took silverware on the way out? Lots of listeners never heard that story. Yeah, that's true, but I reject the premise that Hillary will be in the Oval Office anytime soon or ever.
She took silverware?
Don't you remember that?
No. Refresh my memory.
Yeah, that's they out the door. They trashed the place and had some 5-finger discounts for stuff they liked. Oh yeah, that was a story. But
did anybody take pictures back then of that? I mean, trash away the picture of George Washington was off the wall and in the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
What kind of trash the place?
There were stories. There were stories reported of missing items. The least of Hillary Clinton's crimes. Oh, Chris and Glen Ellen, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I've been a loyal listener for a long time, and I just get tired of every day listening to Sean from Elwood Park. You put him on every day, and he's always bashing Trump. And I know you and Amy aren't Trump supporters, but you have to understand I have a very conservative mother who's voting for Trump. I have my husband of 22 years who works for the post office for the first time is voting. Very first time he's ever voted, and he's voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets a little tiring. I'm a big conservative. I am voting for Trump. And every day you put on Sean from Elwyn Park, who calls him a fascist every day.
Chris,
and there's no one that comes on every day for Trump for your show.
Well, you just came
Be
on.
that person.
We
thanks for the call, too, and I'm glad your husband's getting involved in the process.
We take calls from Trump supporters all the time. I get chastised for being critical of Trump all the time.
I understand, but every day I have to listen to Sean from Elwood Park, and I get it. But every day, I mean, we understand where you guys stand. And yes, you put on a variety of people, but majority of time, you cut off the people that are Trump supporters. And every day we have to listen to Sean from Elwood Park bash Trump.
Well,
and I've been a loyal listener. It just gets a little tiring.
Well, we appreciate that you providing
and call in, Chris. Call in more.
Okay.
Appreciate you providing the comprehensive response to Sean from Elwood Park. Thanks, Chris.
I like Chris.
Okay. Mark in Des Plaines.
Good morning, you guys. Talk about wonderful women, okay? And Nancy Reagan was a saint. But I'm telling you, Heidi Cruz, I mean, compared to these other women, on the Republican side, these other wives, look at her resume. Check it out. I mean, versus, like, for example, Rubio's wife, the cheerleader, right?
No, nothing wrong with being a cheerleader.
Heidi's got a great resume, and she'd make a great first lady, and I think she'd support her man. So there you go, guys.
I think all of the candidates' wives would make a great first lady, except for Hillary's wife.
I agree with that.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Kurt in Park Ridge.
I was listening to the previous caller that doesn't like hearing from Sean from Elwood Park. I mean, most of us listeners, at least include me, I can't wait to hear what he has to say. Even if I don't agree what he says all the time, he's hilarious. And I'll vote. I'm not a Trump guy, but I'll vote for him. I mean, I'm a Cruz follower, but I'll definitely vote for Trump. So that lady should just take it easy. And why haven't they been voting?
Thanks for the call, Kurt. Wow, I don't know how this turned into a referendum on Sean from Elwood Park, or the show was off the rails. But
well, because he's not a Trump supporter.
Well, I understand. Well, neither are we. At least not yet.
Oh, really?
Are you? You're not in the never Trump camp, are you? You're not a hashtag never Trumper.
I'm not a hashtag never, but I'll tell you, there's a movement underway at one of the high schools in Chicago to sign petitions to make UIC reject Donald Trump's visit on Friday night. I don't think they're going to be effective.
He paid for that microphone.
And he paid for the UIC pavilion. And it is going to fill up. And there's a protest outside at 3 o'clock, and the students are going to show up there with this signed petition.
All the students are chaining themselves to Luis Gutierrez, right? Is that what's happening?
Be there too. Yeah, he wants a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
But, kids are involved. But I will say this. I drove the 5th grade boys basketball team, and all they were doing on Friday was talking about Thursday night's debate. It's unbelievable that they're part of this political process. So if Donald Trump has done anything, it's to bring awareness to politics in this crazy world that we call campaigning. So
yes,
and half of them
mixed up marble in which we live.
Come on, I've never had my kids talk about anything political, or they even know. They knew who Barack Obama was because he was the president, but they're not part of the process. And now they're so excited, and they know exactly. Some of them like John Kasich, and they tell me why, and some like Trump. And
do you think it has anything to do with the fact they're getting older?
Well, they're 10. I had 10-year-old boys. I just didn't think that they would all be involved and all had watched TV, because they don't really watch that television thing. Everybody watches YouTube now. So the fact that they actually sat down and watched debate was impressive.
Joe in Tinley Park.
A lot of folks don't remember Hillary trashing the school teachers because Laura Bush was a school teacher. And then she had to really apologize when they all were writing her. And Dan, you remember that.
Well, sure. I mean, don't forget her Tammy Wynette comment. She didn't stay-at-home moms, too, were trashed by Hillary. Everybody's been trashed by Hillary at one point or another, even people that pay her $250,000 to give a speech. Thanks for the call, Joe. Will and Skokie.
Hello. With regards to the Sean from Elwood Park, the woman who called, she says her father and her are conservative and voting for Trump. Well, then they're not conservative by definition, period. So that's the end of the story right there.
Why is that?
You can't vote for Trump and be conservative. He's not conservative. He doesn't have the principles. He doesn't support the policies. He's just a clown.
Will, in a hypothetical Trump versus Hillary matchup, what do you do?
I would vote for Trump, but I would hold my nose tremendously.
That's the only way to hold it. Thanks for the call, Will.
You've made the switch. and it feels so good. You switch to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know color is vital to your health? I'm talking about the color of the food you eat. A colorful diet is a part of staying well because many nutrients are color. Eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables provides your body with the diverse chemistry it needs to heal itself and stay well. Now ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day. My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you, or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Monday, March 14th. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Monday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. That's 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
AM 560. The Answer.
Text from 847. The school that hired and is paying Bill Ayers' pension has a problem with Trump. That's rich. That's a good point. It's not the school. UIC isn't paying it. Illinois taxpayers are paying for terrorist Bill Ayers' 7-figure pension, and yes, it is one of the many disgraces that has been visited upon this state.
Well, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The opposite of disgrace, an American hero, Tim McCarthy, longtime police chief of Orland Park, who took a bullet for President Reagan, joins us at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 57 right now. Authorities say 9 are recovering from injuries after a commuter train derails near San Francisco. Alameda County Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly.
I've heard word of possibly a tree that fell along the tracks and may have caused the derailment. So we'll be looking at all that.
14 were hurt. Authorities call it a miracle that none of the more than 200 on board were killed. Voters in 4 states cast ballots today in presidential nominating contests. The big prize is Michigan. 60 delegates on the Republican side, 150 on the Democratic side. And last night in Michigan, Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton insisted she's not the target of an FBI investigation.
I will reiterate, because it's a fact, nothing I sent or received was marked classified. Now, what happens when you ask or when you are asked to make information public is that it's reviewed and different agencies come in with their opinions.
At a town hall event on the Fox News channel, Senator Bernie Sanders says young people and people who've given up on the political process are backing him.
We need them to come together and demand that we have a government in this country that represents all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors.
The survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing is dead following a car crash in Dubai. Victoria McGrath and a Northeastern University classmate both died while visiting the Middle Eastern city. McGrath, you may recall, suffered severe leg injuries in the 2013 terrorist bombing. Online retailer Amazon opening its second walk-in store this summer in San Diego. A Gary, Indiana man who police say confessed to killing 7 women is now charged with murder in each of those deaths. Donald Trump's visit to Chicago this week could bring out the protest. The presidential candidate rallying at the UIC Pavilion on Friday, and Congressman Luis Gutierrez is organizing that demonstration. In Evanston today, Bill Clinton will be campaigning for his wife a week ahead of the state's primary. And today is National Pancake Day. Take note, IHOP gives away a free short stack until 7 p.m. tonight. Other restaurants offering deals as well, including Denny's offering 20% off your entire check, and Einstein Brothers offering 25% off bagels until Friday. Not sure what that has to do with National Pancake Day, but okay. Chicago sports, Bulls over Milwaukee, 100-90. MAC tournament basketball, our Northern Illinois Huskies winners over Western Michigan, 56-50. The news service of TCF Bank, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Even after a win in Nevada, Mike Gallagher isn't ready to call Trump the nominee.
The establishment, make no mistake, these guys do not like Donald Trump. They do not like Ted Cruz. But these guys are saying it looks like it's going to be Trump. You're not going to be able to stop Trump. And I have to confess, I don't see that right now. And I wonder if that's not a bit of a game that they're playing. Because there's a lot of gamesmanship, let's face it.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Not available in California. Here's a great idea for a business: health food and vending machines. Who doesn't want healthier choices? Imagine the money you could make. Well, the guys at Fresh Healthy Vending have already thought of it and have secured locations ready for healthy vending machines. Most of our franchisees work fewer than 15 hours a week and are amazed at the income they're making and how fast their business is growing. So go to readyforfresh.com right now. Type in promo code 2626 and receive an immediate 50% savings on franchise fees. That's right, we'll pay half of new franchisees' fees. Readyforfresh.com 2626.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
8:35, let's get an update on the roads. In our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Riverwoods, a crash has eastbound Deerfield Road closed east of 45 from Chicory across the Des Plaines River to Thornmeadow. Eden's slow, Foster to the junction, 23 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, an hour and 5 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32 minutes. Eisenhower, an hour and 10 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, 54 minutes from Manheim, outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, it's 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State traffic is slow, 95th to past the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Southbound still heavy, Washington to 176. Eastbound Adams Tollway, still Barrington to Meacham with a stall in the right lane. Veterans Memorial, slow 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy, windy, and warm. A high near 68 today. Rain and drizzle develop overnight, low 57. Currently at O'Hare, we have 60. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So, Amy, interesting piece in the New York Post by Peter Robinson. Peter Robinson was a speechwriter for Ronald Reagan. He wrote an excellent book, actually. It's maybe 10 or 12 years old, How Ronald Reagan Changed My Life. Why Nancy Reagan was the indispensable woman, writes Peter Robinson. He recounts two stories in his piece. This one I thought was appropriate in advance of our next guest. He recalls standing behind President Reagan in the Rose Garden one morning as he delivered remarks that Robinson had drafted to an audience of young people, 4-Hers, or Girl Scouts, as he recalls. Robinson said his performance was a little bit off that day. His pacing was off. He seemed detached. And he writes, for once I thought Ronald Reagan was having a bad day. Then a movement on the second floor of the residence caught Reagan's eye. He glanced up. Mrs. Reagan was standing at the window. She smiled. The president beamed. She waved. He waved back. And then he had everyone in the Rose Garden turn around and wave, too. When he returned to his remarks, the president picked up the pace, appearing more involved and energetic, even, well, younger. A smile and a wave from Nancy. They were all Ronald Reagan needed. Nice stories, a lot of nice stories, of course, flowing in, remembrances. And we're now pleased to be joined by another guest, another gentleman with a lot of memories of serving the Reagans and serving this country honorably. He is Tim McCarthy, longtime police chief of Orland Park. But before that, he spent 22 years in the Secret Service. And, of course, most people who lived through the assassination attempt in 1981 remember that Tim McCarthy took a bullet for the President of the United States. We're honored to have Chief Tim McCarthy join us. Chief, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan.
Well, you know, I notice on your bio on the Village of Orland Park's website, it mentions your 22 years of service in the United States Secret Service before becoming the police chief at in Orland Park, but it doesn't mention the assassination attempt in your role. Is there any reason for that?
No, Dan, I don't think so. It's something I'm very proud of, that I did what I was trained to do on that particular day. But I also did other things in the Secret Service, none equally as important, I'm sure. But I'm very proud of it, and I'm not looking for a job at the moment, and if I do, I'll let them know about that, too.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Chief McCarthy, after you took the bullet for Ronald Reagan and you developed a closer relationship with First Lady Nancy Reagan, tell me about that.
Well, naturally, after something like that, first of all, the President and Mrs. Reagan didn't have any idea who Tim McCarthy was prior to that. There's an awful lot of agents assigned to protect the President, and the line agents like myself, work 3 shifts and rotate every 2 weeks. So he really didn't know me at all, nor did Mrs. Reagan. But after that, on the day of the shooting, my wife was in the chapel praying with Mrs. Brady and Mrs. Reagan for the recovery of everyone. And it's just kind of natural when you go through a critical incident like that you often draw closer than you might otherwise. And, of course, the consequences of losing a president are catastrophic, not just for the family, but the country and the world also. And I think Mrs. Reagan understood all of those things and the consequences of something if they had lost the president.
What was it like, and just to develop what happened in terms of the relationship as you and James Brady and President Reagan were recovering from the injuries you sustained?
Well, the first time I really, met the President and Mrs. Reagan in person on a personal basis was the day I got out of the hospital. I got out of the hospital after about 12 days, but received a message to come down and see the President, who was still in the hospital for another week or so after I left. And that sounded a bit like an order, so my wife and 2 of my children at that time went down to visit with the President, Mrs. Reagan, in his room. And he was still connected to a lot of different devices and so forth. My wife was certainly nervous that our 2 kids at that time found those devices all too interesting.
Oh, yeah, don't touch that button.
Exactly. And my wife was afraid that my kids were going to finish off the President.
Oh, well, what did he say to you, and what did Nancy Reagan say to you?
Well, we had a wonderful visit, and Mrs. Reagan said, Tim, we're going to get together after this because we certainly want to show our appreciation and so on. Well, I really didn't know how that was going to happen, but lo and behold, they did invite us to parties at the White House, and it's this time of the year, and they invite us to the St. Patrick's Day luncheon. And I was sitting at a table with the President, Maureen O'Hara, and Tip O'Neill, and my wife was at a table with Mrs. Reagan and other Hollywood and political celebrities. And it was kind of hard to fit in the conversation, I got to tell you. It was a little bit above my pay grade, but everyone was more than gracious. And over the years, the President, constantly singled out myself, Mrs. Reagan as well at different events. And, sometimes it was a bit embarrassing because I was actually, back on the shift working the President as I was before. And, so sometimes it got embarrassing to be singled out. But in private, many, many times, they would go out of their way to send a gift on different holidays and things like that. So, Mrs. Reagan, I supervised the men and women assigned to protect her and often traveled with her when she went overseas, particularly places that might appear to be a high threat level. So we had a lot of conversations about many different things, including her husband.
because, as you know, she certainly was instrumental in his political career, you know, going from a Hollywood actor to a governor of California and president of the United States. And she certainly had a lot of input into his presidency.
And what were those conversations like when those the personal time you spent with First Lady, traveling around the world, even even after it was the story had been written in terms of he's in his second term as president of the United States, so this is the sunset of his political career. I wonder if Nancy Reagan changed at all during the time you knew her and while you were still in the political realm.
Well, she was, first and foremost concerned about his safety when we had our conversations. And every now and again, she would talk about his image and, how she felt maybe someone was unfair in regards to their covering of the president and those that were fair. And I had a little comment about that. That was really none of my business, but it was awful interesting. And I'd probably just nod my head most of the time. But, she would talk about, well, the president's going on a trip here and a trip there. And I would tell her the advance teams are already out. Everything that can be done is being done. The foreign governments are working well with us, from what I'm hearing. So she was largely concerned about that when we had conversations.
What was your last conversation with Nancy Reagan, and when was the last time you saw her? And I assume you're heading to the funeral on Friday, correct?
We're looking at that, yeah. We're leaving on a vacation Saturday morning, so it's going to be, the logistics are going to be pretty tough. But we were out there in March of 2014. My wife and we flew out to visit Mrs. Reagan and go to the library. And we went to the home in Bel Air, which way back when Mrs. Reagan was looking for a house, I went out there with her along with her, full security detail and a couple of very top secret flights to California to go house hunting, which naturally they didn't want to publicize what houses they were looking at or that they were even there. But it was March of 2014, and we were out there, and my wife and I went to visit her, and she was in a wheelchair at the time, but mentally she was totally sharp and totally in touch with everything going on. And I think the one thing I'll remember is when we were leaving. Well, first we were there about 45 minutes, and I didn't know if we were getting her overly tired. So I said, Mrs. Reagan, maybe we'll get going. And she goes, absolutely not. And let's, don't go anywhere. Well, we stayed for another hour or so, just discussing old times and the president and the different experiences we had together. But at the end, when we walked out, she got out of her wheelchair and physically walked us to the door. She held onto my arm pretty tightly, and her nurse that was there said she hasn't been out of the chair in some time. But what I will remember is that a couple of weeks ago in February, it was the president's birthday, and I sent out a dozen red roses to Mrs. Reagan, just in memory of her husband. And she sent it was just a week after that, about the last week in February, she sent a real nice note back thanking me for remembering and that type of thing. So
you got to frame that note.
Yeah, I will. You can count on that. It was funny. I was coming home. My wife and I were coming home from Indiana on Sunday morning when we were, first heard about her passing. And my wife's name was Carol. I said, Carol, I think I have my folder here in the car. I think I have the note she just sent us. And I did. So it was, fond memories, of two wonderful people that, had one remarkable life story. Going from a Hollywood actors and actresses to the White House, a heck of a story. And of course, all presidents accomplish a lot of things, and President Reagan had some significant accomplishments as well.
All right.
You're making me cry.
He is he's longtime Orland Park police chief, Secret Service agent, and I think people
all around good guy.
Well, even if I know you see, he's a bit immodest, which is okay, but I think it's fair to call Tim McCarthy an American hero. I think most people would say that, and deservedly so. And we certainly appreciate your time, Chief McCarthy, and your remembrances of Nancy Reagan. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Warm weather and some high clouds, but a high today of 68 degrees. We're already at 61 degrees at O'Hare. And tonight we're going to have a low of just 57 with some rain on and off. And tomorrow, mainly cloudy, some spotty showers. Temperature near a record high of 70 degrees. Here's Jim Telemonte. Any records being set on the roadways?
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Thankfully, no, because usually the traffic records aren't good ones. And on the Kennedy right now, it's heavy, but it's not extreme. It's an hour and 5 minutes, so here to downtown. 35 minutes from Montrose and 31 on the Express. Outbound 32 minutes from downtown to the airport. Eden's inbound 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound fine at 19. The Eisenhower runs an hour and 10 minutes from Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 41 minutes. The Stevenson 54 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's fine outbound. The Ryan 28 minutes. 95th to the Loop. Lakeshore Drive delays are southbound Lawrence to Fullerton and northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound still sluggish 120 to 176. Northbound stop and go from 95th past the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway tied up Barrington to Meacham where there's a stall in the right lane. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Turnkey IT is a name you've come to know and trust at AM 560. Turnkey IT provides small businesses with IT resources normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. They provide world-class network installations and ongoing IT support for fixed monthly rates based on the size of your network. In fact, Turnkey IT has a program that fits the needs of your business. Turnkey IT understands your business matters, and keeping you focused on it makes all the difference in the world. Best of all, their service can save you time and money. Turnkey IT can give you the peace of mind that backups are being executed, email is always available, files are secure, and you've got someone to call when you need help. Turnkey IT has people who are professional, friendly, on time, and a live person even answers the phone 24 hours a day. So visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
I feel great. I've always felt pretty good, but once I started taking them in September, I couldn't have felt any better. Everybody in my household's been sick through the holidays. We've had bad snowstorms here, and I feel great.
This is a wonderful thing. I'm really getting a lot of benefits from it. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to be 71 in April, and I just feel generally much better. I would also say there have been all kinds of colds and flu around me, and I haven't caught any of them. I have arthritis, and that has not been as much as it used to be by a long shot. So it's touched me in many areas.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by Citizens for Michelle Moore.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Closing time. Did you watch it? One of the greats, Peyton Manning, saying goodbye to football.
Yeah, I saw some clips of that. Yes.
Well, he was great because this is why I love Peyton Manning, because he could cry, and it's just, he makes it cool to cry, really. I mean, that's what he does. And then he adds some humor to it and some humility, and he's just the best.
I love the game, so you don't have to wonder if I'll miss it. Absolutely. Absolutely, I will. Omaha.
That's good. Closing with Omaha is pretty sharp. That was funny.
It was
good
tight.
and appropriate.
And he did, was asked questions about that pending possible sexual harassment lawsuit from when he was 19, and he handled it beautifully, saying, I'm not litigating something that allegedly happened that when I was 19 years old, and it's not true. So he put that to bed and then went back to crying.
I had a chance to shake Johnny Unitas' hand. He told me, Peyton, you stay at it. I'm pulling for you. Well, I have stayed at it. I've stayed at it for 18 years. And I hope that old number 19 is up there with his flat top and maybe his black high tops on. And I hope he knows that I have stayed at it, and maybe he's even a little proud of me. There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football.
Johnny U. Yeah.
Isn't it great he retires at the top of his game? I mean, won the Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl is the ultimate retirement party.
Yeah.
And he said yesterday that even before the game was played, he had decided that it was time.
Well,
and then he wins the game.
It's staggering, too. I mean, the average career in the NFL, 3 years.
Ooh.
Six times the average at the quarterback position, where obviously you get pounded a lot. And he had some years early and even late where he was taking a lot of hits. So it is. I mean, the longevity is incredible. Obviously, what he accomplishes is incredible. He's one of those athletes that transcends the sport he plays. And there's a handful of those.
And that's why he had so many endorsements. And
yeah,
he's going to be around for a long time to come. But guess what he's going to do, Dan?
He wants to own a football team.
Well, besides that, what is he going to do? Like, what is he doing today?
I don't know. What is he doing today?
Well, he's going on a vacation, a golf vacation, because that's the time I spent with Peyton Manning when I played golf behind him and in front of him in a foursome. And you were telling me,
how did you play golf? How did you play golf behind him and in front of him?
Well, it was a scramble at Boulder Ridge, and I was behind him in a foursome, and then another year I was in front of him in a foursome.
I see.
But you know, you get backed up at the holes when you have too many scramble teams. And we talked, and he was great.
Well, great.
And then I was there in 2007 when he won the Super Bowl.
Well, next year in the scramble, you can scream at him down the front way, "Love you, Peyton!
Come back, please.
Name my son after you."
Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I truly have enjoyed being your quarterback.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything